What?
Motherfucking dog named Snoop.
You know, I think you could tell a lot about a woman by the kind of bed she sleeps in.
What?
Motherfucking dog named Snoop.
There's a cat named Jimmy Bones.
Jimmy Bones?
Yeah, why? You heard him?
There's nothing but a dark world of pain locked in that building.
Oh, just wait. You be tripping soon enough.
What's the matter, bro? You spook?
She is a murderer.
It's a trip, eh?
I want you to put this in her drink. That's holy water that's just been blessed.
Blessed is the man that endureth temptation.
This is the story of Jimmy Bones, black as night, hard as stone. Gold-plated dudes like the king of Siam got a switchblade loose and a diamond on his head.
Now this freaky bed says to me that you are one hot-natured freakazoid.
Jimmy Bones, is that you? We killed you.
I got a natural high. A supernatural high. Somebody must have laced my weed.
Oh, you telling me now that along with criminals, we got ETs and zombies killing people, man?
Dog eat dog, brother. Dog eat dog, brother.
Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 260 of the Triple Shots of Moodz and Horror podcast is coming at you live and direct with my hetero life mate, JP, also known as the Mexicans. And we got the real pretentious Mr. Freeman Part 2, also known as Mr. Saucedo, and representing the No More Room in Hell podcast and Fresh Cuts, we have Mike, the Snorer Merriman, back in the house. And I be your host, the MOOD to the Z. Y'all know me, Moodz. Yeah. What's going on, dudes? Yeah.
Yo.
Oh, that was less of a pause. I like it. We're learning.
It's
What's up, Mikey?
260 episodes.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I think I had a decent streak and then nothing since, and then now I'm back.
What was the last show that you were on? I actually can't remember.
I know it was a Scream Retro, the last one with Lacey.
No, it can't be that long ago.
Oh my
That's
God.
like 3 years ago.
We did Scream so long ago, man. I think that was like pre-COVID, wasn't it? Like,
yeah,
I think it was
a long time ago.
I think it was amidst that era was the last, because
I can't. No way.
That is
I just
a while.
remember I put together like a decent streak of episodes, and then I just stopped doing it, and then
We moved. Well, we won. We moved times.
Yeah, that's probably.
What did we used to do? Friday nights.
Yeah, I think recording.
Yeah, weren't you doing Monday for a while or something?
Yeah,
we did. Honestly, man, I think we've done every single day of the week at one point. Like,
I don't think we've ever did Wednesdays.
I think the first time I recorded with you was a Monday.
Yeah, like a lot of Fridays, Sundays, and Mondays, a little more common days, but this one seems to work for everybody on Sundays, so I like it.
I'm actually curious what the last episode was.
Yeah, I can't think of it, actually. I was thinking about that last night. I was like, I don't even remember. Fuck, it's been a while.
Yeah,
but,
and you're recording during like daytime hours now too, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have we used to start at like what, midnight your time, JP?
Yeah, there were some eras where we would literally start at midnight.
And those days were rough too, because like those shows were always like 4 or 5 hours long. You'd be up all night recording the shit that we do, man. Fuck.
Yeah, that's why I got the damn Snore nickname, because of being on fucking 22 shots at 3 in the morning.
You literally fell asleep on the show one time. Like literally. Still the craziest thing ever. But I got some good samples out of it. I put your snoring in there.
Did you do pregnancy horror with us?
What were the movies for that? Do you
Baby
remember?
Blood and something else. Demon Seed?
No, I don't. Was the one I did without Moodz, was that after the Scream retro or before it? It was like
Before.
the William
You were on a
Castle
show
ones,
you were on one of the shows I wasn't on. Crazy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Was it the Peter Jackson show? Were you on that?
Yeah, I did that one.
Dude, it
I don't
might have
think
been
so.
like hella long ago. Did you do any Italian months with us recently?
No.
Not recently, no. I'm telling you, it's been a while. Like, it was weird. It's just, I put together, because I can't remember if like you were just down a person and needed someone all those weeks and I was available, or
Probably.
and then I don't know, and then
Dude, it might have
got your
been.
regular co-host back or new one.
No, I think you did Terror Vision Video Dead might have been your last show.
Yeah, I
Wow.
remember that. Yeah.
I wasn't on that show.
No, that was weird. That was a weird show because it was like me, Mike, and Venom.
Yeah.
Like, it was like more.
Yeah.
It was like fresh cuts and no more room in hell.
That's like one of my favorite double
Featuring
feature
22 shots.
Blu-rays I've ever gotten.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
It's probably one of my most watched.
So that was episode number 205, and it aired
Wow.
3 years ago. So it came out. It was what was the exact date? February 19th, 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
If that was indeed your last show, I feel like it wasn't, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, there could have been a random one here or
That's
there
crazy.
since then.
Wow. But I honestly can't remember. So,
Well, the streak is back. I get our stops now, so now you're gonna have to put this new date in, I guess. So
Yep.
it's all moot now.
yep.
Still haven't done the Nightmare retro since then.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck. I mean, we'll eventually get to it. I mean,
I've always
Dude,
said
I've heard we'll eventually get to it for like 5 years.
well, the thing is, it's
Yeah.
not actually a priority. We have so many shows lined up that, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. The Friday and the Nightmare ones are just kind of like,
I've always just saved them because like it's as long as you never do them, then they're always there to do.
I think
But
that like what we're
also,
gonna do
Those
is
are
like,
very covered things too, you know.
well, that's actually partly the reason why we haven't really done them, because everybody has done those. Like, I mean, there was podcasts just based on those type of things and shit. Like, I don't know, man. I kind of want to ring through like all the other franchises first, and we kind of have. We've done a ton of franchises. So
I think it's time for Psycho next season.
yeah, I'm actually quite surprised we haven't done that one. I mean,
I've had Psycho 4 like on my show for like literal years, and I've just never watched it.
I want to do like the prom night films, like Psycho. Well, we got the Blind Dead series coming up pretty soon, so that's one I've been wanting to do for a while too. So, but there's still
I think when it comes to Elm Street and Friday, like the way that I want to do it is like different from like how we do our shows. Like I would actually like to put a lot of effort and dedication into that show and make it like literally our best show.
I think what we wanted, like, I mean, the idea that we were kind of floating around was to like, you know, record every movie as its own review and like really get in depth. I don't know how like to put together, but like just do one at a time and maybe like with a different guest on every
That's
movie
kind of how I wanted to do it, because I essentially wanted to, you know, really dig into like, you know, the documentaries and like stuff like that, and like really be prepared for those. And also, I also had an idea of doing them in order, like Freddy versus Jason, like do both franchises at the same time and do them in order of when they came out, not in order of each franchise, you know?
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah. So you would have like 3 Fridays in a row, and then you would have like Elm Street Friday, Elm Street Friday, Elm Street Friday, like kind of like that, you know?
It would be like cool, like to do, just kind of like simulates what it'd be like to like actually live in that area and see these as they came out, like where every franchise was when like this movie came out.
I was just thinking of different ways to sort of tackle that franchise that haven't been done. I've never seen anybody review them like that before.
Yeah.
JP, is Nightmare still your number one slasher franchise?
No, never has been. But it is
it's
my
mine.
number 2, probably. I'm I think that I actually like it
a
more
Friday
than
guy?
you, but because I like Freddy's Dead.
You like what? Well, what Friday's number one?
Yeah, Friday's my number one franchise. Period.
Yeah,
not just whole slasher. Like Fridays are just comfort food to me. But so are Elm Streets.
Is it because volume, or because like would you put your top Nightmares over your top Fridays, like in head-to-head matchups?
Probably. I think the heights of the Nightmare franchise is way higher than Friday.
Yeah, I've always felt Friday actually has the lowest peaks, but Friday is the most consistent.
Yeah, like I've always considered Nightmare my favorite slasher franchise, but where I would budge on the argument is like, I guess volume-wise, I could say like Friday might have more good entries just because there's so damn many, but like
I think Friday has the most good movies.
Friday also had Nightmare also it might have the highest peaks, but it also has the lowest valleys.
Yeah,
compared to Friday. Like I think that all of the Friday films are.
It just Friday or Nightmare didn't really allow itself to because there's so little of them compared to the Friday franchise, right? Like what is there?
Friday was better at just having a format and sticking to it, where like every other franchise was trying to like experiment and go like bigger, and they really didn't do that. They just kind of like
they started to.
Eventually it did, but like that's why like 1 through 4 are like so liked, because they're just like they're really consistent. Like they didn't get crazy with it.
I did kind of include 5 in that. Even though it's
5 is awesome.
I love part 5. I don't know why people always shit on that film, man.
Yeah, like I feel like
not Jason.
I feel like that's literally it, because like I'm not like I probably have a weird ranking compared to a lot of people. I don't like think 5 has that many issues compared to like a lot of ones people seem to like.
I think it's just because it's just comes down to the simple argument that people feel like they're cheated in it, right? Because it's actually not Jason, right? It's just that whole it's that reveal that people are just overly
feel like that though.
No, not as much anymore. I feel like
I know
created a movement.
No, to me, it's like the same aspect. Like Friday Part 5 is kind of like, what can I compare that to? I probably like Halloween 3, right? Because that movie was super hated when it came out. Yeah, and it's got like a super
too.
Yeah, and Elm Street too. I think all 3 of those films were kind of lumped in the same category as like
they're all
very hated on, very very much hated on. Became the black sheeps, but then became these like cult. They have cult followings now. I mean, Part 2 has its own documentary for Nightmare on Elm Street. Like Part 5, people come around. They just accept what it is now. But like people never really took it for what it was, because if you actually look at Friday 5, like it's not Jason, but man, dude, that movie has great fucking like kills. It has a huge body count. It's a fun movie. It's got memorable. It's got great boobs. It's got memorable characters. Like it's just a really fun one. And I just think that Part 3, Halloween, was just completely rejected because of obviously not having Mike Myers, and people just couldn't accept it. But
do you think I've always thought about that too, like how certain franchises have like the oddball entry, and they're probably more hated for the generations where they were actually released, because there was like that sticker
now
shock
they're
on
accepted.
But now you by the time you even watch it, like if you're a young horror fan, by the time you even go to watch the oddball entries, you've probably already read about it. You go into it with the context of knowing like kind of what to expect a little bit.
Like Halloween 3 in particular, there's a complete paradigm shift. Like it's actually beloved now. Like it's gone beyond that point where it's like half people, you either love it or hate it, and now it's mostly just love.
I still see the odd person say that they can't, they don't like it, but you're right though. Like it totally shifted, man. It shifted to the point where like most people praise the film, and it's like, and people even talk about this too, like on social media. It's like it's so crazy how everybody loves fucking Halloween 3 now. It's like, because there was a time where I almost felt like it was cool to hate that movie, but now it's
around when
cool to like it.
I felt like around when the Scream Factory Blu-ray came out, like in 2011, there started to be like a big shift in like this movie's actually pretty cool.
Well, I'm happy to know that like people like me and Moodz were always fans of it.
Yeah, man. I always like Halloween 3, and Part 5 of Friday. I always liked it. It wasn't ever like a personal favorite for me, but I always enjoyed the film. Part 2, when it comes to Nightmare being my favorite franchise, I always just thought that like it wasn't a good sequel to the first film. It doesn't mean it's not a good film. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I think it's a great
sequel to the first film. I just think it's a bad film in the franchise in terms of like how different it is. But if there was only 2 of them, I think it would have been a cool idea.
See, I saw this one really young compared to the other movies, and I always really liked this one, actually.
I just always felt like it kind of jumped the shark a little bit because it just went so far into like, they didn't like kind of ease into the idea of Freddy coming into the real world like that and stuff. It just felt like it just happened so soon.
It also hurts that then you jump to 3 and 3 feels like very designed to be a direct sequel to the first one.
Well, it is.
It feels weird having 2 kind of wedged in between them, where if 3 would have been the second one, and then then you do your oddball entry after the fact, after Freddy's been defeated by Nancy and all that, then
that's what I tried to explain before about part 2. Like, I have this weird relationship with part 2. I really like the movie, but I just don't like where it's placed in the franchise. Like, if part 3 happened as the second film as a direct sequel, and then the idea of part 2 came later on down the road, I would have been totally cool with it. It's weird. It's like it's like the way your mentality perceives it, right?
I feel like it would have made it worse though if it came after 3.
I don't know.
I've never had a problem with the placement. It's never bothered me or made sense to me.
Yeah, it's the whole idea.
Then you're really used to the fact of how they are, because
for me, it comes down to like the rules that they set in part 1, and then it just seems like there's this total shift, and like they went way the fuck over here with this idea, and Freddy's all of a sudden like able to do this shit. It just felt like it was too much at the time for myself, and that's just the way I perceive it. But I mean, I do feel like that movie's violent and it's scary and it's nasty, and you know, like it was. I don't know what it is with people, man. Like, if it's the idea of like, see, when I was growing up watching part 2, I never looked at the movie as what it is today, as like the gayest horror movie ever made. I never saw that, but I'm super blind when it comes to that shit. Like,
the only part I thought was a bit weird was the shower scene with the teacher. That was the only part.
It's weird to me. That was weird.
I never thought twice about it, man. It's weird because like I spent so much time in my life in showers, like with other guys. Like, I know it sounds fucking weird, but it's true. Like, I
grew up playing hockey. Like, I
grew up playing hockey, right? So I was always in a shower with other. Like, I never thought of it as being like, oh, this might be like, it might be a gay thing. I never thought of it like that because, like I said, I've seen a lot of wangs in my life in showers, right? Like, I never put 2 and 2 together until it was like this thing, and it was
all
like
that stuff now. It's funny you say that, though.
Yeah, I think it's a great movie.
I remember when I got into nerd stuff, like after high school, like I was around all these nerdy kids that just like never played a contact sport in their life. And like I remember like one day the conversation came when they were like so weirded out by the fact that like guys just like play sports and get naked in the same room together and shower.
Well, hockey life is a little bit different. Like, hockey players are gross.
Yeah.
Like, they do gross things. Like, the whole like toast thing that's real shit, dude. Like, that's fucking gross.
Yeah, we're weirdos.
Yeah, man. Hockey players.
Remember that movie with Sean William Scott where he's like, "Do you want to see our dick?" or something? Yeah. The Swedish guys or whatever. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of what it is, but I know the part.
Goon, right? About. The Goon, yeah.
Yeah, the Goon. Right, you're right. Actually, those movies are fun, man. Both of them are fun.
They are fun.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it makes me laugh because it's like it's so like stereotypical Canadian shit though too, right? Like, I watch that and I go, oh my god, it's so true though. Other people just wouldn't fucking believe that. Like, it can't really be like that. I'm like, no, it actually is. It's fucking. We got real goons, man.
But yeah, no. The Elm Street. I mean, I don't think we'll ever retire from the show without eventually doing those franchises. I think if a new entry comes out, it would kickstart us to actually do them. Like, so if a new Friday or Elm Street actually,
we can't rely on a new entry coming out to actually get to do it one of these, because I mean, to be honest, it's not going to fucking happen. Like, we'll eventually get to it. I think what we should really do is, sit down, brainstorm the actual construction and idea of how we want to do this, because like, I don't want to, like, you're right. We've discussed this. I don't want to do it like we've done all the other franchises. I mean, we've recorded different franchises differently. Like the Saw, we did almost individual reviews too, because those
I almost want it to be sort of like that, but with a guest.
Right. And then do a guest on every one. And then you could break down, the documentaries, documentary for part 2. And then of course the big Nightmare on Elm Street documentary, the whole thing and stuff. And I mean, there's just a lot to do, man. It's a lot. So
yeah,
that show, I don't even how would we even put it together as one? Because, if we do individual reviews, each movie is going to be like 2 fucking hours, 3 hours. Like,
Yeah,
it's probably going to get so long. And you think seven? Like, I mean, say if
I feel
every
like
movie was 2 hours,
I feel like
14-hour show.
how many films are there? There's
7,
12 Fridays and
no, there's 13 Fridays, isn't there?
no 12.
No, there's 12. Yeah,
that's the like fucking head scratchy thing is that they were on the 13th entry and they never fucking did it.
Right. Yeah.
And then
which one would you put Freddy versus Jason in?
Well, see, the way I'm looking at it is it's going to be
just in chronological order.
It feels like a nightmare movie.
Order.
Yeah,
it does feel more like a nightmare.
I've always thought,
even though it's called Freddy vs. Jason, because you think it would be more of a Jason movie, but
Friday the 13th.
I always thought that movie was named.
I feel like you release it in like 3 volumes, maybe.
Yeah, I always felt like Freddy vs. Jason was named incorrectly. It should have been Jason vs. Freddy.
Freddy vs. Jason just sounds better.
It sounds better, but the idea in the movie, it feels like a fucking nightmare movie. That's what I'm saying. Right? So
it feels way
it shouldn't be
like
versus Jason. It should be versus Freddy if you're going to have the whole nightmare aspect of the film, right? Like it always confused me. It always confused me. I'm like,
that all makes sense to us, but then you got to consider we're like actually only like 10% of the audience, and
but it's just
casuals.
It sounds correct though, right? Because the F becomes before J's. Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, it flows way better.
Yeah, Jason versus it just doesn't. It's backwards almost, but yeah, I know what you mean. So
JP would do them together, kind of.
Yeah, I think
13th.
I would prefer to do it as one thing since they are a connected franchise.
So if we were doing them chronologically, are we putting we're doing 2 franchise shows at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost feel like you do it in we would record them individually, but when we would release them,
you could just do years.
It'll be just a Nightmare on Elm Street show, and then it'll be a Friday show.
No, I think years. You start with like 1980 to like 1984.
Okay, so you're gonna have so the franchises are literally going to be together.
I think you just divide them. Like, how many is there? There's 12 of those, and then how many?
19
Freddy's. It's 19 total films.
Yeah.
So maybe you do like I don't know, like
you probably do
each or something.
Oh, that's gonna be so long, man. Holy fuck, dude. Even having 6 on one episode is gonna be a fucking long show.
You could do like 5 volumes of 4, because then it works out cleanly where you could do
but five volumes is kind of a lot of volumes, but I guess it would depend how long the recordings ended up, right? I feel like you wouldn't really want to go over 6 hours per.
That's what I mean. So that's why like maybe 4 films is where you want to keep it at.
Yeah, because we've had a couple franchises that
listeners are getting a behind the scenes look at how we come up with shows.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time brainstorming on shows and ideas and stuff, and there's a lot more than just hitting record.
Except now they're going to be all hyped for this, and then you're like, yeah, it's not happening for like years.
Yeah, it would be so clean too, because you could do volume 1 is just Friday 1 through 4, and then volume 2 is like the rise of Freddy. Like
maybe I'll just cut this whole conversation out and I'll put it at the end of the show because no one listens that far.
It's like watching. It's like staying for after the credits.
Although some people, man, they really enjoy the farts that I do at the end, so they get the comments.
They probably just skip to it.
We would also throw in Mahakal in there as well.
Yeah, that would be fun to do, man.
That would be like 20.
Isn't there a couple like straight up Freddy ripoffs? Like that's the one that's pretty famous for it. But I think
that one is literally a Freddy film, though.
Shocker actually is a Freddy ripoff.
Like Bones.
Craven just remade that movie. Yeah,
the horror show kind of is too, in a way.
Yeah. So is this movie called Bones?
I think honestly, so is My Soul to Take is a little bit of a Freddy ripoff.
Yeah, Craven, I think just couldn't get rid of that idea, man. He just kept remaking it.
It's a good idea.
Yeah,
he's like, let me just tweak it a little. Maybe they won't notice.
Yeah. See, I like Shocker. A lot of people don't, but
I like Shocker. But
here's another one that feels like a Freddy ripoff is Phantom of the Opera with Robert Englund.
Right? Yeah, the '89 one. Yeah, I like that movie. It's fun.
I've never gotten through it.
It's one of my favorite Phantom of the Operas.
Yeah, I've owned it on Blu-ray a long time, and I think twice I tried to watch it, and I just like got distracted or wasn't paying attention. But I've never finished it.
It actually is one of my favorite opera films too.
I try to watch like little like movies like that I haven't seen that are just like very like Halloween-esque, like around like October.
That was a cool release from Scream Factory when they announced that one. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was back when before there was everybody was like producing at a faster rate than they are now, and there was like 3 companies that buy literally everything from Scream Factory.
Yeah, and there was a time where they were also putting on a lot of good stuff, and
when they were like the only fish, they had a lot of stuff worth buying that I was even like confident buying, like stuff I'd never heard of.
Yeah, well, like some of my favorite releases from early Scream Factory was like stuff like Deadly Blessing, just because it had never really had a good release, and The Island and Death Valley, which is a really fun little slasher film with Peter Billingsley. And TerrorVision Video Dead double feature.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite double features I've ever bought. And it's just like
it's actually one of my most watched Blu-rays in my entire collection. I've seen
TerrorVision way more than I've seen Video Dead, but like I've watched both of them multiple times, and like they're just like fun like movies that really pair well with each other, and it's just like such a giant flavor win, and they're both short, so like you can just run them back to back, and it's like not strenuous at all.
Yeah,
honestly, like I kind of love Video Dead.
That has its charm. Like it shouldn't work.
It's not like I wouldn't say like, oh, this is a good, well-made movie, but it just has a lot of charm.
It does.
I don't know what character he plays, but somebody in the Video Dead is the gold guy from the Greasy Strangler.
It is. Yeah, he's in the beginning of the film. I think he's in the beginning.
That's great.
Yeah. I know. I came across that one day too, and I'm like, dude. He was fucking dead. I'm like, what the fuck? And I actually rewatched the movie. He's like in the beginning. It's so fucked up, dude. It's so crazy.
I have to watch it now. I was like, I don't know what character this is. This is a long time.
Yeah, it's in the beginning, man. It's No, Video Dead is so fucking fun, dude. I love that movie, man. It's great.
I have a question. Why the hell have we never got a good Resident Evil anything?
I don't know.
How many times did they attempt to do it?
So we got movies just don't work.
What is there? 7 of them?
There's 7. So easy.
There's 7
Resident Evils.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have that original series, which is like
I couldn't get past part 2.
Yeah,
that's the best one.
I seriously hated the first one so much. It took me years to watch the second one. I had bought that box.
What are you going to do when we cover that franchise?
The first six in a box set, and it was like $20 for the box. And it was like I had no interest in it, but I was like, for $20 for a Blu-ray box set, 4K, individual cases. I'm like, oh my god, dude. And I was like, whatever. So I watched the first one. I was like, this is horrible. Like I fucking hated it.
I actually like.
Oh, it's so bad, dude. I was like,
I'm making that a priority to do next season just to piss you off.
Well, like I said, man, like I'm down for doing franchises. Like we got Psycho to do. I want to do fucking Toxie, man. I want to do Toxic Avenger films.
That would be awesome,
dude. I just watched freaking Toxie last Friday. This Friday,
dude. It doesn't have to be next fucking week.
Well, I'm not doing it next week.
I know, man, because we're doing fucking Blind Dead franchise.
I'm out of town next week.
Or whatever. The next franchise that we're doing is the Blind Dead franchise, which is about fucking. I mean, it's another one I've been wanting to do forever. What was the other one?
We only have 3 shows after this. It's kind of sad.
But actually, I'm going to have a little.
Be the funnest season I've had in years.
This, to be honest, actually might. So the kid's schedule is a little bit different this year. He didn't make the AA team, so he's playing single A All-Star ball, so they play way less tournaments. They'll be out of town way less. So we might actually be able to do some summer shows this year.
Yay, summer shows.
Yeah, because I mean, we're not going to stop doing the Sin Bin show because that records on Thursday, but we'll definitely. I think we should do. I don't know. I want to do like a slasher show, like in the summer slasher show.
Summer slashers are cool. That's like the ideal time to watch slashers.
Yeah. I need to watch slashers anyway.
Don't Go in the Woods. It's going to be one of the films that we're doing. Don't Go in the Woods, and we're going to have Carly on.
Yeah, I'm down to do some slashers. We got so many ideas, bro. Like it's not even funny,
dude. It's
like there's so much like fun stuff. I keep
like
thinking of shit too that I want to do.
I know.
It's like a summer drive-in show where you just like simulate like a drive-in lineup. You could put like Don't Go in the Woods on there. Something else that pairs with it.
Yeah, like just anything. Like that would be like a camp slasher type film or a show that would be fun to do.
Sounds like a good time to do the Friday Nightmare franchise combo.
I mean, Friday makes sense.
Yeah.
Nightmare not so much, but
yeah, we're going for the flavor one.
That would be fun.
I wish there was like, we should actually. That was the idea that I had. I think last year, but obviously it was going to be too big and just not enough time and stuff. But because we did a summer extravaganza show a few years back, which was the Jaws franchise, right?
Yeah.
So what's the parallel to the Jaws franchise?
Shitty shark movies.
Shitty shark movies, but specifically Sharknado, which there's like that franchise is like, what is it, like 6 or 7 of those?
Man.
We would have to do those individually because like because everything would blend together. It's literally the same movie 7 fucking times.
I've
like,
never seen a single one of them.
Actually, there's a really funny cameo from Lloyd Kaufman. I think it's like in the 6th one or so. It's funny. I laughed. But anyways, of course he would appear in a Sharknado movie. But whatever. I mean, that's summer, right?
I'll do anything for $1.
If you do the Sharknado movies, you better get Don and Nelly because I just want to hear him talk about Sharknado.
Or Maddie.
He probably legitimately likes those movies too, right?
He does.
Maddie loves them.
Like he doesn't like them in an ironic way. He just actually likes them.
You know, it's weird. I actually don't mind them either. They're actually kind of fun. Like, I don't know what it is about them. They're just so watchable. They're so stupid. They're so fucking stupid. It's hard not to watch them.
No, bro. Listen, here we got to do the Piranha franchise in the summer.
Yeah, that was the other
Zoology
one. That's
Piranha,
what I was.
bro.
That's what I was thinking, man. The fucking. I think I have it written down actually.
We did 4, right? 4 zoologies. Yeah. Yes. So the fifth one would be a good time for a franchise.
Yeah, that would be Piranhas, fish.
Yeah. Fish.
Yeah, and then you got to correspond that with a shitty shark show or just Sharknado franchise or whatever.
Yeah.
But
do like 2 zoologies, summer extravaganza.
Crocodiles.
Oh, I love crocodile movies. There's so many. Like we literally could have.
There's a ton of crocodile.
So
movies.
many volumes of fucking crocodile and alligator movies. Like,
I like to do Dark Age. I like that movie a lot.
Have you done the
Anaconda
Rogue.
movies?
No,
actually, I want to see that new Anaconda remake.
Yeah, it was an Asian remake.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool. Actually,
I have a hard time understanding why an Asian why they would remake Anaconda. Like it's just funny for them to.
That's
be
another
American
franchise,
films,
though. If we did that, I feel like we'd have to do Lake Placid and Anaconda at the same time. Because
I do Lake Placid. I actually don't. What they're for those, right?
Lake Placid is awesome.
There's a film in that franchise called Lake Placid versus Anaconda.
Yeah, so there's 5, right? Or is there 4?
Lake Placid movies or Anacondas?
There's 4 Anaconda movies, and I think there's 5 Placid films, right?
God.
Dude, I don't know. Like that franchise got
the 4th one is the first one. I think that is the 4th one.
Did the Sci-Fi Channel just buy the rights to like both these franchises or something?
Probably, bro. Well, the funny thing is like they actually, I think they bring Betty White back for part 2 of Lake Placid.
Yeah, and then she dies or like right away or something like that.
Yeah,
Isn't that?
like
I can't remember. Fuck, I've seen them, but
okay,
I think I've seen Lake Placid too.
So Lake Placid, you have Lake Placid 2 from 2007, Lake Placid 3 from 2010, Lake Placid the Final Chapter from 2012, and then Lake Placid versus Anaconda from 2015. So there is then Lake Placid the Legacy from 2018.
Shut the fuck up. There's a 6th one?
Yeah,
I didn't know about that.
The Legacy.
And then Anacondas, there is
4.
1, 2, 3, 4 Lake Placid versus Anaconda, and then of course the Chinese version.
So which one do you do that in? Do you do the verse one in the Lake Placid or Anaconda films? Because it says verse.
Do them both back to back.
Sounds like another double franchise retro.
Yeah. And speaking of,
there's a binder,
films,
and
we still never finished our Alien versus Predator shows either. And now there's more Predators. Then there's a new Alien
and a new Alien Romulus.
Well, we did the Alien franchise and we did the Predator franchise.
These franchises are getting
but we never did AVP.
Oh no, we never did AVP. No. Which, yeah, I don't mind the first one's okay. The second one is just trash bags. Was it Requiem? Ugh.
I never saw that one. I saw the first one in the movie theater.
Ugly bad. It's ugly bad, man. It's really fucking bad. So,
yeah, there's literally like so many shows we could do though. Like it's just been fun planning and thinking of stuff.
Hey, how about that UFC 300 though?
Oh man, fights were fucking crazy, man. Like it was a good card, man.
Oh my god, is it? I mean, I'd argue that it's like top 5 best cards ever.
Yeah, it was really good, man. Some good knockouts, a lot of blood. It's good shit, man. Good shit.
Crazy moments. I mean, dude, to me, like
crazy moments.
The Justin Gaethje Max Holloway fight completely made that whole entire
that
part
fucking knockout, man. I was like, what?
The most impressive thing about it is Max was way up on the scorecards.
Dude,
no need to take that risk at all. But
No.
you know what? He's a bad motherfucker. Like,
dude, that was amazing.
It literally personifies that whole concept.
Like,
nope. He said BMF now stands for blessed. Did you see the post-fight presser? He said bless something. He didn't say bless motherfucker, but I can't remember. But it cracked me up when he said that.
It just only made sense for that fight to end that way when you're the baddest motherfucker, right? Like,
oh, it was so epic, dude.
It was super epic. It was just the way it needed to end. It was so fucking awesome, dude. Oh man. Like we were
He
just
looked
great.
great. He looked great the whole fight, man. I mean, his combinations were on point. He was, you know, just that spinning back kick when Gaethje was ducking in was like timed perfectly a bunch of times. He just was he was looking good. I mean, I like it's not off. I feel like Max Holloway has had 3 careers in his career, like 3 eras. Like he looked better than ever, really.
Yeah, I was shocked at how good he looked. Like, and he like the exploit they found in Gaethje's fucking strategy. It's like the fact that he was able to capitalize on it the entire time. He was, that camp must have been just so well tuned in to watching film and figuring out like little holes and flaws.
And if you go back to the Volk fights too, like like I thought he won at least one of those fights.
Yeah, I agree.
So like it makes it even like more impressive because he never really fell off. You know what I mean? Like he's fucking a beast.
What do you guys think of the main fight, the main card or the
main event?
Yeah,
I was kind of shocked. I didn't expect it to go like that, but apparently Alex punches harder than Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, apparently. I was shocked too. It was like, fuck, first round. I was like, damn, dude.
I actually picked Hill to win that, so I was kind of shocked. But
no, really.
I mean, that's another fighter who's making an insane imprint in the sport in 3 years. I mean, dude, like I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him go to heavyweight like he wants.
You think that's it for Holly Holm?
To get 3 belts. What's that? Holly Holm?
You think that's it for her?
Yeah. She should
career.
She's like 43 or something.
She's
right?
42. Yeah.
42.
Yeah. I distinctly remember talking about that last night because Aaron or the wife was like, she's the same age as me. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I think she should be done. Kayla Harrison looked really good. Amanda Nunes is kind of teasing coming back. I would love to see that fight.
I think if Harrison gets the title, I think they'll be able to coax her out, at least just for that.
I think Amanda wants to come out. I don't even think she wanted to really retire.
I think Harrison's a guy. Like, I swear she's a dude, man. Like, she's fucking huge, man.
Dude, honestly, I didn't think she looked like that bad at 135. Like at the weigh-in, she looked a little rough, but I think she did. See,
when I watched the weigh-ins, I was a little worried because she kind of the way she was kind of standing there, and I know they rehydrate, but even that isn't enough sometimes.
Right.
But she came out with high energy, and she had no trouble with the pace of the grapple. Like I was like pretty impressed.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. Too bad
she really dominated.
Didn't do this
like
earlier in her career to get down.
Well, she tried to get to the UFC, but like the PFL had a matching clause or whatever.
Like she won a gold medal, right, in the Olympics. Two fucking crazy athlete. Like like she looked really good. I mean, Holly Holm is definitely in the twilight of her career and probably done and stuff. So I mean, to be honest, man, like it's not really the best fight for her moving forward.
That's actually
Well, when you look at the matchup, you figure like, okay, that's what Harrison was going to do. It was just a matter of, because we haven't seen Harrison take on like the elite women. It's like, can she get the elite women down as easily as she did like people in PFL? And
well, we see a blueprint of how Holly wins that fight, right? It looks like how Ronda Rousey fight went.
Should have.
So we knew it was possible for Holly Holm to do something like that, but we just didn't know what Kayla, like we didn't really know like how Kayla Harrison is with like an elite striker, you know?
Right.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, if you look at the rest of 135 right now, it's like
wide open.
Yeah, because I would say Holm presented the biggest threat of like damaging Harrison as she was trying to go for takedowns, and the fact that she took her, like, I don't think Pena or Pennington is gonna like rough her up. Like, they might tag her a couple times, but do you really foresee them roughing her up as she's trying to like get judo takedowns?
Maybe Pena
can, who knows, right? It's tough.
Do something, but I don't think Raquel has a shot in hell at beating Kayla Harrison. Like, no shot, like zero shot. First of all,
I want to see her fight again.
Octagon IQ, like fight IQ, is some of the most horrendous ever.
Yeah.
She just makes like weird choices like all the time. But I think that, I mean, I've been wanting Harrison in the UFC forever. Like I was happy to finally see it because she's, you know, already what, like 32 or something like that. 33. So it's like times now, you know.
Yeah, you didn't want it to be another cyborg thing where by the time she gets to UFC, it's like, okay, how much are you?
She's fucking Holly Holm age.
Yeah. Well, even Holly Holm got there a little late. Like Holly was like I think like 30 something when she got there. Well, it's because
Holly Holm had an entire career before she got there, right?
Yeah, but even when I followed her through her like you know, early MMA career outside of the UFC, and it just felt like it was taking forever for her to get noticed by, like, Dana White didn't even know. I remember somebody brought her up and he didn't even know who she was, like at one point.
That's crazy because she was like the best kickboxer out there. Like, she basically retired from there because there was no one to fight. Pretty crazy.
Well, it's not like Pereira came into UFC after he already had a long ass career. It's just that he's done so much in so little time. I don't think people realize that he's not very young either.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I mean, honestly, a lot of fighters aren't that young, right?
Yeah, it's interesting when you see these like because Joanna was like that too, right? She had like a whole kickboxing career before UFC.
Yep.
It's interesting whenever you get those fighters that have this. Izzy too had, I think, a pretty decent career outside of MMA.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Pereira is like such an interesting yeah, Brock Lesnar had a whole ass WWE career.
So WrestleMania, right, CM guys?
Yeah.
See, didn't CM Punk get his ass whooped when he actually tried to fight in the UFC, though?
Oh yeah.
But dude, I give that dude like more credit than anybody. I just think that it was handled a bit weird by the UFC because I don't think that like they really knew like what his martial arts background was and just saw his name and was like, oh, signed CM Punk. It wasn't like, I think they like thought it would be like the Brock Lesnar situation where Lesnar was like an accomplished, you know, college wrestler.
Yeah.
But CM Punk wasn't really, you know, and just had a little bit of jiu-jitsu training. So, but I give CM Punk a lot of credit for being, there's really no reason for him to take a real fight, right?
No,
whereas like
he's not that big WWE either.
Guys
like even like
talk such a big game. Like all these WWE guys, dude, that like, especially back 10, 15, 20 years ago, like they actually think they're badass, like fucking fighters, you know what I mean?
Well, they're just
they're tough guys and would beat me up, but
they're not going to be professional.
They're not
fighters.
Actual like fighters.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I remember Bret Hart, or someone said that Bret Hart used
Bret Hart's really full
like he was, or was it Bret Hart that said that some one of the wrestlers used to like actually think that they were like the champion of the world and stuff. You know what I mean?
It might have been Bret Hart. Bret Hart is like,
typical
people
Canadian.
I've learned about. He's
thinking
like,
they're better than everyone else.
I like Bret Hart though.
Bret Hart's. I've actually met him a couple times.
I remember back in the day when Butterbean knocked out Bart Gunn because WWE had the
brawl tournament.
Oh my god, dude, that was fucking funny as hell, dude.
That was such a bad idea.
I was actually watching a fucking Butterbean highlight reel video on YouTube like a couple weeks back. Him just knocking the fucking people out, dude. That guy had a fucking cannon of a fucking punch, man.
Well, the thing is, JP, like at the time, I didn't think the tournament itself was a terrible idea because I was a wrestling fan back then. So I was kind of entertained when they were just fighting each other. But as soon as they said the winner's going to fight like an actual boxer, I was like, that's not a good idea. That's a bad idea. Because like Butterbean's not even like a elite pro. Does have actual training and he has fought like pro boxing. I'm like, why are you doing
Butterbean is a decent boxer, dude.
Butterbean knocked the fucking shit out of so many people, dude. Like out silly. Like he could fucking flat out punch, dude. Like for sure. That was
compared to a professional wrestler, like Butterbean's like world-class talent boxer, you know what I mean? Like it's insane. And
yeah, exactly. And you could tell by the way the
Butterbean wrestlers were boxing,
the wrestlers that were boxing each other when they would go up against it was mostly just like, you know, swinging haymakers at each other. I was like, that's not gonna work.
They looked pretty like horrible boxer. And they would gas, dude. And the weird that was fucking they would gas.
Yeah,
Butterbean, like a really bad idea.
I think it was like Butterbean was hard to take serious when he first, because he was like just not your ideal looking boxer, right? Like he was huge, like totally overweight, didn't look like he could do anything, and then it was like,
yeah, he almost killed Johnny Knoxville once.
Like he could fucking punch though, dude. Like man, that guy, that video I was watching, I was pissing myself laughing, dude. Some of these guys were like unconscious out. Like
yeah, dude, freaking DDP like saved his life recently.
Who,
did you guys see that video?
No. What, Butterbean's life?
Yeah.
What happened?
He couldn't even walk, bro. He's just like fucking like really rough shape. Like
that's really random that you brought up Diamond Dallas Page.
I know, it's actually not.
In one of these movies. Fucking random as that.
No, like there's a video that DDP put out like a little while back where he literally Butterbean could not stand up straight. Like he was
because Diamond Dallas Page does rough. That. He was
because of the yoga.
Yeah, he was working with Jake the Snake, right? Jake the Snake was all fucked up.
So many people. He's doing amazing work out there.
Diamond Dallas Page is a fucking good dude, man.
Oh, I love DDP.
Yeah, man.
Cool dude.
Like that whole thing with Jake the Snake was so fucking sad to watch, man. You're just like, oh my god, like it's brutal, man.
Yeah, that's like the Dark Side of the Ring, dude.
Yeah,
that show was really, really cool.
It was, man. I love that shit, dude. Getting the real stories and shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, they just had a new season, I think.
Did they? I don't think I watched any of those, but
yeah, it's very eye-opening. It's very eye-opening. Yeah.
Yeah, because like the professional wrestling industry, especially like back in the day, pretty fucking grimy, bro. Like in terms of like like the politics,
considering Vince McMahon just got ousted, it was still pretty grimy.
Right. Dude, he's got it's so much.
Is Vince McMahon hanging out with Diddy right now?
Might as well.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I mean, they're all fucking connected, man. They're all fucking connected.
Dude, one of my favorite
Weinstein. They're all connected, man.
One of my favorite pieces of like media is that interview that R. Kelly did with that one journalist. He's like, I'm fighting for my motherfucking life.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
R. Kelly.
I watch that every once in a while.
Diddy. All these guys are all in the same network, man. The same fucking circle.
Cat Williams.
It's not a fucking conspiracy. Like, you know what the crazy thing about the whole thing? Me and my buddy were talking about this last night because we got on the Diddy thing and like how everything's connected with Weinstein and like there's more shit that's going to start coming out and stuff. And I said, you know what the craziest thing about this whole thing is though, that no one's really brought to the table, but she's totally connected and right in the middle of this whole thing is fucking Oprah. Oprah was friends with all these people. And I'm like, man, wait till that shit breaks fucking forth, man. Like everyone loves Oprah, but you got to like, there's pictures of her with Epstein and fucking all these other people and all these circles and all these bad people. They all knew because it's a fucking, it's all connected, right? And like,
yeah, it's always hard to tell because they all commingle with each other and you never know, like, are they but that there type of because of that stuff? Or are they there for, it's hard.
Those type of people weren't just like rich and powerful. Like they were really rich and powerful. You know,
I just feel like the majority of these people are just like, I know about them, but it's not my business.
Right. I mean, I just think it's pretty funny that Oprah is like, it's going to start coming up because she's really like, she was in the middle of it. And like, again, you know, oh man, there's just so many things that we were talking about. I'm like, man, it's coming out, dude. It's coming out, man. Because everyone's being outed now. You just can't escape it, man. The social media, the way the world is now, every secret that was once is not going to be anymore. It's just,
I definitely agree with Tyler at the least, is that if the ones that aren't outright committing the heinous stuff, there's probably a lot of like looking the other way. I don't want to rock the boat of the power dynamics.
But still knowing, but you're looking the other way. You still fucking know what's going on.
No, I know it's still awful.
Guilty by association. Using it, even if I'm not saying Oprah's running a fucking prostitution ring and fucking pimping up. You know, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that she knows what's going on, right? Like you can't not know if you're hanging out with Epstein and fucking all of these other dirtbags that are fucking being outed and that other fucking crazy bitch, and it's nuts. It's absolutely fucking nuts. This whole Diddy thing, like I laughed so fucking hard the other night. I saw the funniest meme and it said that, I don't know if you guys saw this one, but it said Biggie didn't actually have a lazy eye. He was just keeping one eye on Diddy.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
I laughed for 20 fucking minutes, man. I couldn't stop laughing. It was a great picture of fucking Biggie just kind of like looking over at Diddy. Oh my God, it was good, man. But I mean, to be honest, man, this shit is just, I don't even think this is tipping the iceberg right now, man. But
I mean, probably not, just because I'm sure it involves so many people to different degrees, and you know what they've been up to with all that shit.
Yeah,
but I mean, I guess it's good. I mean, I guess once the ball gets rolling downhill and it picks up steam, it's like in the end, it's a good. It sucks when it's like people you either admire or you like enjoy,
like Bill Cosby.
Yeah, exactly. I think honestly, Bill Cosby is the only person that I was kind of offended by, because he was like a hero, right? I grew up watching the Cosby Show. I watched his
I remember watching kids say the darndest things, and
I watched
Cosby Show
and like Fat Albert.
I like that. Dude. Yeah.
Well, not only that, but he was also very outspoken against like the people in the scene that he felt weren't doing things the right way. So it's like,
it's like super hypocritical.
I just find it so insane how somebody can make a whole career out of being so like PG, you know, but be doing the most heinous fucking things, you know, behind everyone's back. It's like, it's just, it's so disgusting to me, man. I'm like, that's why it kind of hurt me. It hurt me that it was Bill Cosby. And like with Weinstein, like he was always he's an weird looking fucking ugly dirtbag.
Yeah, like I'm not I'm not like devastated to find out that Weinstein was like doing some shady shit.
No, dude, he was just a fucking creep from the start, dude. Like there's people, Epstein, like all these guys, man, there's something about them. They have this evil aura about them. But Bill Cosby, though, that's an odd one. That's a hard one to take, man.
Yeah.
Fuck. You know?
Especially the extent of it. Because like when the first accusation came out, it's like, oh, that's pretty shitty. And then like another one. And it's like, oh my God. And it was like 50,
like, what was it, like terrible. 50 women came out? I'm like, oh my God. And they're like, and that's maybe like a quarter of them. I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad.
And their stories match so well. It's like, there's no way they're all lying. Like
it was literally the same story over and over again. Like it was just, it was so disturbing. I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, the Cosby, man, fuck, brutal. I went and seen Godzilla, the new Godzilla film. Did anyone else see it?
Did you see Godzilla -1 yet?
No. And
that's the one to see, damn it.
That's the
I know.
one to see, damn it.
Oh, of course, I can't wait. Like, is it getting a physical release? Because I looked actually for it recently and I couldn't find it. So, anyways, but yeah, you know, the new Godzilla film. I was actually watching the film thinking of JP in the third act. I was like, oh, he's gonna hate this fucking movie.
Why is Mothra there?
Yep, Mothra shows up and she's all badass in it too. It's pretty cool. But
you know what? I actually like the Mothra that they had in the Godzilla.
Well, the Mothra character makes a lot of sense in this narrative though too, and it's like, but like the whole third act is just, it's so crazy action that like there's so much going on. You need to watch it like 3 times over just to figure out everything that's going on. There's so many battles.
Where would you rank it in the Monsterverse franchise?
I don't know. It's probably my least favorite one. You know,
that's horrible.
No, but I mean, it doesn't mean it was a bad film. It's a popcorn flick. I mean, it is what it is. It does what it needs to do. But
I think the best one out of that franchise is Skull Island.
Yeah, Skull Island's really good. The thing was with this movie when I was watching it, I kept getting like these whole Transformer vibes. Like it's super Hollywood produced, and it kept coming across like having these. And I hate Transformers too, but there was times in where I just felt it had that same kind of comedy to it and same kind of action sequences, and some of the sound effects were very coming around like Transformer. And I was like, man, It feels like, and I said this to a couple of people and they agreed with me. Like, I was getting Transformer vibes off this shit too. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, this, I don't even want to think like that because I can't stand Transformers. But.
Yeah, I don't like the ones that have that flavor to them. Like Godzilla -1 to me felt like a traditional.
It was amazing,
like a throwback to like what Godzilla movies were, and to me, it was like damn near perfect.
There was actually a really fucking funny part in this Godzilla film. I actually was thinking about it after, and he was making me laugh with the little ape. What he does with the little ape. It's such a funny fucking part. Did you see it, Mike?
No, I didn't see the new one.
So no one here has seen it yet. Crazy.
No, I saw Monkey Man and Omen this week.
How was Monkey Man? It looked like
it's cool. It's cool, but like it tries to like stand out and kind of be interesting. It is in that degree, but the pacing is kind of a little bit of an issue with it. And one thing that kind of I didn't really like about it was all the fight choreography is like that really close up, like John Wick.
I hate that shit.
Yeah, where it's like shaky, but
they do it better in John Wick.
They do it better in John Wick because they're confident enough to like show you like the whole room and like have nice, more expensive shots from overhead. So it's not all these close combat shots that you can't see, and it kind of does that like in every fight scene. It just kind of becomes like a less good John Wick.
Yeah, I wasn't really too sure on that one.
But it's pretty good. I think most people like it. It's just the pacing's a little bit of a dip, but it tries to do something interesting.
So
I'm pretty sure Moodz isn't. Are any of you other guys getting screenings for Nick Cage's Arcadia in your town?
I haven't seen it yet.
I don't know.
It's getting screenings here, but only evening and night. Like I'm pissed because
I want to see.
I like to go to like early day ones, but I'm gonna have to go at sometime
crazy.
Tyler, did you like the first Omen or not?
I liked it.
Yeah,
there were some things I thought were like really bad about it, like this, like we talked about last week with the CGI.
Yeah, the fire, right?
Man, the fire is so there. Like the CGI
oh my god, that was terrible.
It looked so bad. I was like, I even like kind of made a joke to myself in the theater by myself. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, my god, dude, I just can't get over like these movies that still have fucking CG fire.
Yeah, it was like it's like CGI is like one thing, but there was a lot in this, and it was like embarrassing CGI for a movie of this scale.
Yeah, for that budget, there's no excuse for it to look that horrible. Plus, you're doing a callback to the OG. So one, you don't even need it in the first place, that extra element. So if you're gonna put the extra element in there, you better make sure it looks good. And
that's literally what I said last week on the show. I said, this is a prequel, and they're kind of duplicating this famous scene from the Omen. And I'm like, that scene technically in this world hasn't happened yet. I'm like, it's such a weird thing to do, but then to take it one step further and fuck the whole scene up with some shitty ass CG.
Yeah, like
I'm like, what?
Not good.
I'm like, that is so unfucking needed to do that. But like, overall, did you like the movie, Mike?
I thought it was okay. I don't know what you guys thought about the explanation once you find out why what's happening is happening.
Don't like go super.
Found it. I won't explain it at all. But I just thought it was kind of a little cornball to me.
I thought they at least like made a good like attempt at having like kind of like that needle drop moment and like building the twist. I thought that was solid.
Did you guys also see Immaculate the week before?
See, the crazy thing
I think
is
this is better than Immaculate.
The first Omen and Immaculate are so similar. They're literally they share the same DNA. It's so crazy.
They have it, but this movie though has an homage to Rosemary's Baby and then Possession, like almost right back to that.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And that made me so happy. Both of them.
And Immaculate has the Red Queen kills sometimes music in there and shit.
Yeah, they recreate like two scenes in this movie, like back to back. And like like maybe some people notice the Rosemary's Baby one because it's a little bit more obvious.
Yeah.
But like they like do the whole Possession subway scene, like right in the middle of the street. It was so awesome.
You know what's crazy about that? I never even caught that until I was reading a post from Tom the Horseball, and he's like, yeah, and they did the Possession. I was like, holy fuck, I didn't even clue in when
Yeah, she even makes the same like noises. She makes the first noise, and like I'm like, I know that sound because
you know what's weird? It's because when I was watching that, I'm like, this might be something, but I never put the connection together with Possession for some reason. I never thought of it. Like it totally just snuck right by me, and afterwards I was like, oh my god, that's totally fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I was so happy like seeing that. That was such a cool nod for me.
But I was very impressed. Like, it's a great double feature in terms of like church exploitation, man. Like, just getting the shit out there. And you guys know how much I love that shit. So, I mean, honestly, I like both movies. I really do. I was shocked by both of them. I wasn't really expecting much from the first Omen at all.
Yeah, because I didn't have any expectations at all for this movie.
I think that's part of it, because coming off last year, An Exorcist Believer, which I don't know what you guys all thought, but I thought
that was my lowest ranked movie of the year.
It was fucking trash bags. Like, that movie was utter shit. But it was fucking shit. It was honestly, like, for theatrical experiences last year, which I saw, I think 19 or 20 films in the theater last year, that was by far the one I hated the most. It was terrible. So, yeah.
That being said, going into once like the first Omen trailer hit, when you start seeing it in the theater, I was just like, oh no, here we go again. Now, it was nowhere near that bad. Like, I thought it was okay. Like, I wasn't high on it, but I wasn't low on it. Kind of, the word. If I compare it to Immaculate,
you're the first person that seems a little downer on it that I've heard.
I'm actually a little bit shocked at how much people actually really are giving this one the time of day, because I was expecting it to get so much hate, going back to the whole Exorcist Believer thing. I mean, that one rightfully got it though, but
I feel like First Omen and Immaculate are kind of like even to me, but I give a little bit of a nod to Immaculate just because when you come out with a movie that has like no ties or parameters that it has to fit into like a pre-existing franchise where, you got to hit this certain note because of what's already out there. That's why I kind of give the nod to Immaculate, but they're kind of neck and neck as far as like how much I enjoy them.
I think the first Omen does a lot of really good things. Like, even, with the whole ending and stuff like that, all that stuff that's going on. I think it's pretty interesting how they did that.
Yeah, it's crazy that they came out back-to-back weeks though, because so much of like the plot is
I was
like watching it over again.
I was tripping the fuck out because again, I watched them in the same week too, and I was like, what the fuck is going? Like, this is what the fuck? I couldn't stop. I was like, this is so bizarre, right? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Just the fact that like there's like a almost like satanic panic type thing going on right now, because he also had Late Night with the Devil like a week before that.
Yeah, that's when I really want
to watch The Sentinel.
Dude, that movie to me is a 10 out of 10. I love The Sentinel. The Sentinel is such a great fucking movie, dude, man. And like, it's a weird movie to watch too, because like if you're familiar with like the vacation films, and then you say like if you're really versed in those, and then you go back and watch that movie, you're like, she plays like this crazy lesbian character, but like she shows her tits and she's just all fucking drugged out. Oh, it's just her character's so bizarre in that movie. Scene. Yeah, dude, in the masturbation scene, like, and for me, like I'd seen those movies for years and years before I'd seen The Sentinel, and then I saw The Sentinel. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I couldn't believe what I was seeing with her, man. It was crazy.
Hey, Moodz, I'm pretty sure Late Night with the Devil hits Shudder this Friday.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, actually.
Pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah,
so, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, the year's shit. What are we getting this week? I think Tarot or whatever is opening up here this week. I'm surprised we're actually getting it, and we better be getting Maxine because we didn't get Pearl.
You'll get that. There's no way. You didn't get Pearl.
Wait, what? Why do you say there's no way he would not get Maxine?
Well, we didn't get Pearl.
Maybe he doesn't know Moodz.
I guess I really underestimated like the backwoods if he didn't get Pearl.
Yeah, it was really fun. Well, the weird thing is I saw X in theater, and then we didn't get Pearl. So I'm like, is it
which is so weird because Pearl feels really like weird one.
Yeah, and I'm like, is it just a toss up now that we get Maxine? Because if we don't, I'm gonna fucking lose my shit because we got Night Swim and we're getting Tarot this week, and I'm like, well, what the fuck?
Did you not get Sting this past week?
Which one?
Spider, the killer spider movie. Sting.
He definitely didn't get that.
No,
we don't get Tarot.
No, all the movies in the theater right now
until May
are fucking Godzilla, Ghostbusters, the first Omen. We got Immaculate. Like, I've seen all these ones, but it's like the big ones, like what's the one? Civil War just came out, which I'm not going to see.
We got
that. I thought that looked horrible.
Oh,
I was gonna go see it, and then I just decided, like when I was like away at work, and I decided, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna do that.
Actually, we don't get anything coming out here.
Yeah, Tarot doesn't come out till May for us.
Oh yeah, speaking of pieces of shit, man, O.J. Simpson died.
Oh yeah, all those years of trying to find her.
Wait, why?
He never found that.
Why did he die? Well, he had cancer.
No, I'm saying why? Like, why is he a piece of shit? What happened? Oh my god, they remade Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead?
Yeah, I think that just came out too.
Like
What
Christina
the fuck?
Applegate movie?
Yeah.
Weird.
Why?
I don't know. I love that movie, but
Why
surprises.
is Dune still playing in my theater? Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I couldn't do Dune.
Oh yeah, that's in the
And
theater too.
Imaginary,
That
what?
one's there too. Yeah, I actually skipped Imaginary because JP, if JP hated that one that much, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna like this thing.
Dude,
It was really bad.
it's literally one of the worst.
Yeah.
It's,
And it's not very often I skip a theatrical horror film because like, and honestly, if it had been like if Tyler had said he hated, I probably would have went and saw it because he's just pretentious, doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about half the time. But JP, like, he's kind of more, I mean, if he's going to say he doesn't like that, there's no way I'm liking that fucking movie.
Is Cuckoo going to be a wide release? Because I think that looks interesting.
Yeah, that was one of the ones more on my radar.
Yeah, that Tarot movie looks terrible, but I'll probably go see it.
Does look
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot for me to go see a horror movie in the theater.
I'm kind of
Like I
down
said-
to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, you know what? I still need to see the third one. I haven't seen the third one yet, so
Me neither.
That's
the only one I haven't seen.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the first two a couple times actually, and I liked them, but I never got around to the third one. And I was like,
What's the name of the third one?
Rise?
War?
Or War? Yeah, that's the third one.
Playing at my art house cinema this week.
So yeah, I gotta probably pick that Blu-ray up and watch that, and I'll go watch the fourth one too. So I might just actually rewatch
The whole
three,
franchise.
Actually. Yeah,
Yeah, that first one is like
they're
amazing.
The effects are good, man. In those. So
yeah, I actually think they have done a pretty good job with these new Planet of the Apes films. Like I
think the whole franchise is good.
Oh, we're getting a horror movie in my art house theater this week. The Beast.
Which one?
The Beast.
it's
From
not
75?
Like, it's not. Yeah, it's not the Beast with. Have you ever seen that movie?
Now the Beast is that woman Leia Seydoux in it. The one from the last Cronenberg movie, Crimes of the Future.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
But
you haven't seen Crimes of the Future?
No. I kept hearing from reliable source. I usually don't listen to people, but I'm just like,
dude, it's a Cronenberg movie. Who cares?
Yeah,
I thought it was good.
No.
Don't listen. Moodz, just see the shit.
No, I mean, I'll eventually.
She's in a bunch of other stuff. That was
wasn't
just
a
the only
priority
horror
for me.
movie I could think
It just
of.
wasn't a priority for me, so I'm like, whatever. But
Yeah, this movie, The Beast, looks cool. I'm gonna go see this.
The Beast.
Did you guys watch any 75 films this week at all?
Nope. I haven't been watching anything, dude.
Where was the last one I was? Except for what? Oh, I watched A Haunted Turkish Bathhouse.
I like that movie a lot.
Yeah, I was
really
a little bit.
cool.
I liked it, but I was a little bit disappointed. It's kind of a slow burn, and then the ending was like super uber cheesy but fun. I like the fact that she like comes back as a fucking cat ghost. It's super cheesy.
I thot the visuals look so good in that movie. I like
Yeah,
it. Just
it's shot really well. Yeah, it is.
Dude, Tyler, are you talking about The Beast, the 2.5 hour movie?
Yeah.
You know what? I just read the synopsis. You know what it sounds like? The synopsis to Equilibrium. Remember that movie?
No, I don't think I actually ever saw that. They just like I was in this theater like last week or the week before, and they played a trailer for this, and I thought it looked fucking awesome.
Sounds almost like a Black Mirror episode, like the
Yeah, it looked like it gave off those like sci-fi horror vibes. I was like, well, I'm definitely going to see this.
Yeah,
kind of like near future tech. Like not, that's been like a big thing lately, where there's a like, especially Black Mirror, where it feels like it's near future tech, not like predicting far ahead, but just kind of like what we're on the cusp of.
Yeah,
I like.
Yeah, this movie looks cool.
Because it's stuff we can. It's stuff that even though it doesn't exist now, we can still make sense of it in our brain. Like, okay, I can definitely see that happening with.
You can like buy it. It makes it way easier to like buy into.
Yeah, it's not like movies from the 50s that were like, oh, we're gonna be on Jupiter in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, since we're doing like urban horror this week,
urban horror,
I decided to watch like a few like blaxploitation like horror films from 75 and stuff. But I mean, this one, it was funny actually when I first added this to my list. to watch. It on IMDb was actually labeled as like drama, action, horror, but there's no horror in the listing now for The Black Gestapo. And I see why, because it's totally not a horror film. So I watched. It was fun. Lord Shango, I didn't like really at all. It wasn't very good. And then
that's a 75, right?
Yeah. I finally picked up that Blu-ray from Code Red, and it is what it is. It's not very good. Welcome Home, Brother Charles. If you guys know the history with that one,
is that the penis one?
Yeah, kills people with his giant penis. It's like a revenge film. It's fun. It's fun. I like it. It's got funky soundtrack. Character. He's a great character.
Is that a recommendation for Killer Genitals week on 22 Shots?
Sure, man. I'm down with that. One-Eyed Monster with fucking Ron Jeremy. That would be another good one. Oh, pervert with the penis that detaches itself and runs around. That's fucking amazing. Yeah, I know. We got to do that Killer Genitals thing, man. I think we call it Killer Genitals, maybe mixed up penises and vaginas in there.
Yeah.
It makes it easier.
Yeah, I think so.
Teeth is obviously the killer vagina movie of.
Yeah, Teeth
is the most famous one. You kind of like, you're kind of obligated.
It's actually great too. I love that movie.
I want to see that Asian one, the one that's called Killer Pussy. I think it's a shorter film.
It is. It's only 40 minutes, I think.
I've heard it's actually quite good though. But
there's gotta be some like anime horror movie that has killer genitals in it.
Oh, for sure.
There's a bunch.
Wicked City.
I have a movie
Does
called
that have
Killer
that in
Rack.
it?
I have a movie called Killer Rack, but that's not really genitals, but it's like killer tits. So
also Killer Condom is killer. It's genital horror.
Yeah, it is. It is. Killer Condom,
like,
German film.
We could either go genital horror or killer genitals.
Right. And there's actually quite a few options for that.
Well, genital horror, it could be like an STD thing. Ooh.
Oh man.
There's actually one called Penetration Angst that I've seen before.
Yep, I've seen that.
That sounds painful.
I don't really remember it, but
yeah, I don't think it was overly that great from what I remember, but I don't know. I'd like to rewatch Pervert though. That movie's fun as hell.
I love Pervert. Yeah,
it's so much fun, dude. And I also watched Police Are Blundering in the Dark, and that movie was utter shit.
Is that from the Giallo box set?
Yeah, it's really bad. Like, it's a terrible Giallo, man. And the fucking crazy thing is there's like no police in the movie. I'm like, what the fuck?
Is there dark in the movie?
It's a really slow...
Is there blundering in the movie?
No. Honestly, the title of the movie comes from a headline that a dude's reading off a newspaper in the film. It's like, these murders are happening, these models are getting killed, and police are blundering in the dark. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so corny. But it's like, it's just not good. It's really, really not good. Even the reveals suck too. It's actually probably one of the worst Giallos I've ever watched. Like, I finished it and I was like, man, that really sucked. And honestly, I'd heard nothing but bad things about it. So that's why I had never really gotten around to checking it out. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I feel like watching a Giallo. It's 75. Watch this shit. It's on the shorter end. Not worth your time. It's a bad one. Vinegar Syndrome. But then, of course, the release I watched before, Welcome Home, Brother Charles, that's Vinegar Syndrome. That's worth your time. That's fun.
Wait, Vinegar Syndrome put that out?
Yep.
I don't know that.
Yeah, it's good.
I don't think I have Welcome Home, Brother Charles on my list.
Actually had the old DVD under the title Soul Vengeance. Same movie. And I believe that DVD's cut, though. I'm not 100%. Oh, no, maybe it's just the title's different. I'm not sure. But it looks really good. Sounds good, too. But then again, it's Vinegar Syndrome.
We'll have the list then.
Yeah. So episode 260, we're doing urban. We decided to call it urban horror. It just gives you kind of more of a wide range of films to kind of, pick through and stuff. So on that note, I decided to do a quick little Google search looking for, the top 10 urban horror films. And to my amazement, you type in top 10 urban horror films and nothing comes up. I found a list with Rosemary's Baby on there. There was like Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, dude, they really stretched the
what
term.
The hell?
Yeah, dude. And I was like,
when we were just shitting around on Zoom that night, we kind of talked about this show. Like I remember looking it up, and every list, like it got so broad with the terms that you would get shit like Rosemary's Baby or just any movie that was like predominantly black. They're putting on there.
They're calling Manhattan urban, I guess, for Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, it was really strange. So I like clicked on a bunch of these websites, and all these movies were like not urban horror films. I'm like, okay, Rosemary's Baby. I'm like, click off. So then I retyped in Google. I said top 10 hood horror films, and then of course nothing comes up with hood horror films. Everything's just labeled as black horror films. I'm like,
yeah, exactly. It's just like every black movie is like, that doesn't make it an urban movie.
I know. I'm like, just because there's black people and it makes it hood and urban, I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, there was like the second list.
Every black person does not live in the ghetto. Like that's so stupid.
Yeah, like like one of the first lists I clicked on that I had like Get Out and Us on.
Yeah, I know. What? I know. So I clicked on.
I would count those because
where do they go? What urban community do they go to in those movies?
Well, between like it's more of like a tone and like a thematic element.
Yeah, some of them are narrative wise and stuff like that, but yeah. So anyways, the first thing I clicked on was I was looking for 10, but we'll rip through this one quickly. It says the what does it say? The essential 25 essential black horror films or horror movies.
25. Let's go.
All
right. So number 25 is Bones from 2001.
Right.
We'll get into that in a minute. Number 24 is see this one. Tales from the Crypt presents Demon Knight. All right.
Would you call it that because well, I guess the lead is a black character actually. Jada Pinkett, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Well, and then I always think of William. I think of William Sadler when I think of Demon Knight. And I think of Billy.
It does seem to have like a black flair.
I think
know that Dickerson directed it. I feel like you could kind of get that vibe from it.
Yeah, I think it's totally because
with some of the stuff with Billy Zane's character, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, but I think it's the Ernest R. Dickerson connection.
It's got CCH Pounder in it too. She has a good role.
Yeah. Number 23, which I'm a little bit shocked this is this low on the list, or this high on the list, I should say. Tales from the Hood, 95.
I mean, in my opinion, one of the best ever.
I would agree. This movie's so overlooked because it looks just like it's corny, but it's actually awesome.
It looks like Hood of Horror.
The crazy thing about Tales from the Hood, though, man, like we talk about this all the time, but like that movie is so relevant, and it'll always be relevant.
It's like more relevant now than like.
Yeah, it's crazy. But this is actually really surprising too. Number 22 is Blackula, which is interesting that we just talked about how Tales from the Hood kind of looks like it could be corny and it kind of gets overlooked.
Same
a
thing
little bit.
With Blackula.
Blackula, because the title just sounds ridiculously stupid. But it's really a serious horror film. There's no comedy to this whatsoever. It's straight up serious. It's really good. Like William Marshall fucking rules in this movie, dude. He's so good. I mean, check out what episode did we do the Blackula films? I have no idea. Check out that episode. Number 21 is Blade from 1998. Is that 98? Damn.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Crazy. But I guess that's the Wesley Snipes. Number 20 is Ma from 2019. Would you put that in there?
What?
Ma. 2019.
No.
Not really.
No. I totally wouldn't. That's ridiculous. Number 19 is JD's Revenge. That's 100%.
Yes, definitely.
That's 100%. 1976. Great blaxploitation horror film. Did I see this one? 2020's Black Box. Can't remember if I watched this or not.
That sounds familiar, but I don't know if I've seen it.
It says Amazon original movie. I recognize the time. I'm not sure if I watched this one or not. I think I just recognize the artwork. But did you see this one, Mike? Black Box?
Mm-mm. I saw The Blackening from last year, but not Black Box. No.
Yeah, Black Box. I don't know.
I don't think I've seen this. No, I didn't see this.
Yeah, I recognize the art. I think I passed on it. But number 17, which is Blade 2 from 2002. Okay.
No, just because it has a black actor in it.
I know, and a lot of people like the whole joke about Wesley the black ass Snipes. You've always referred him as the blackest actor. It's funny. Number 16 is Sweetheart for 2019. I watched this. I wouldn't consider this to be. Our lead is black, but I didn't think Sweetheart was very good. Blumhouse shit.
No, it wasn't.
It's the one where the girl was on the island.
Yeah.
Yeah. So number 15, People Under the Stairs, 91.
Absolutely.
Number 14 is Death by Temptation from 1990.
Yes.
This is
familiar.
This is a really good one right here. Number 13, it says The Zombies of Sugar Hill, but it's called Sugar Hill from 1974.
Yep, for sure.
Fucking great fucking movie. Wow, I'm surprised to see this on the list. Number 12, Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it.
I would say this is, this could fall in there.
For sure.
Number 11, Candyman from 92.
Yep.
Number 10, Beloved from 1998. I have never seen
Beloved.
I didn't know this was a horror movie.
Oh my god, it has.
I think saying
go fucking figure.
Oprah.
I've never brought up Oprah in 260 episodes, and she's getting brought up twice on this episode. She's in this movie with Danny Glover.
I've known about this movie because the guy who made Silence of the Lambs made it.
Oh yeah, Jonathan Demme. Yeah,
right. I didn't know this was a horror movie.
No, I didn't know that. Okay,
it's psychological horror drama film.
Okay, so this
sounds up my alley.
So this next one, number 9, I have actually seen this movie. I think Criterion put this out a year or two ago, and that's Eve's Bayou.
Yeah, Eve's Bayou's great. I was hoping.
Yeah. Speaking of Samuel L. Jackson, fucking 1997. Yeah, this is a great movie.
I was looking for that to be like, no Eve's Bayou on this list. I'm impressed they got it. It's a good movie.
Yeah, I got to pick up that. Now I'm probably going to buy that Criterion tonight. Actually, just remind me. I need to grab that shit.
It's like a Southern Creole like ghost story.
Yeah, it's set in the early 60s, I think, or something like that. Is it not?
Yeah.
It's like very gothic feeling, right? Yeah.
From what I remember. I liked it a lot. I'm going to watch it again soon.
The Boy Behind the Door from 2020. I saw this one. I don't think I liked it that much.
Boy Behind the Door. I can't remember.
I'd have to look at my rating, but I'm pretty sure I watched this one. Yeah, in 2020. Ganja and Hess from 1973. That's a good one.
One of my worst blind spots.
Dude, I just heard that you've never seen fucking Godzilla or King Kong.
Dude, I was shocked by that, man.
And you're King saying Kong. That's your blind spot. Get out of here, bro.
Ganja and Hess is a good
Those
one.
Those are pretty bad, too.
That's like horrible.
Yeah.
It's got a 93% on Rotten Tomato meter.
That's I don't know why I've never watched Godzilla, but like King Kong, like
it's more surprising that you haven't watched
That's exactly my opinion.
Because that's like an actual like cinematic, like important fucking movie in history, like one of the most important.
Yeah, that's something that Criterion, if they could get the rights to it, or release that shit.
I was surprised. I kind of like I let that sale end before I bought like some Warner Archives, so I was kind of waiting for the Kino sale, and I wish I would have just done that. I was gonna buy King Kong on that sale, and I like let it expire.
Yeah, it's
but on like film challenges I'm taking this year, I have both those movies like slotted on a challenge, so like I will watch them this year.
Number 6, His House from 2020. Man, a lot of these modern ones I haven't seen.
Is His House the African one?
Yeah,
they move. They come over as I think immigrants. Yeah.
That one's pretty good.
I saw this one. It was on Netflix. Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, I like.
I just didn't recognize the title at first, but yeah, I've seen this one. Number 5, Candyman from 2021. I personally
first of all, that Candyman is nowhere near better than the other Candyman.
Yeah, I mean,
they should at least switch the spots.
How in the fuck is that? Where was the other Candyman?
My hot take is this one's actually like bad.
Number 11, and then number 5 like on the remake. Yeah, I wasn't a fan. Number 4, this will make JP happy. Attack the Block from 2011.
Yeah,
that's a great one.
Everyone should like. Wait, who doesn't like that?
Yeah, Attack the Block is awesome. So it's one of those.
He's just saying that because it made my top 10.
That almost that was like my number like 13 or 14.
It was around there for me too. About the same 13, 14, somewhere in there. Number 3 is Us from Jordan Peele. Okay, this is where it loses me. Number 2, Night of the Living Dead, 1968.
All right.
I mean,
we have a black lead, but I wouldn't say this is a black horror film.
It's not a black horror film at all. It just has a black lead.
It's just like an important black character.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Dwayne. Yeah, okay. Number 1 is Get Out.
Yeah, that was
Jordan Peele rapping.
What about like Transfiguration? There's kind of one, right?
Transfiguration?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Tales from the Hood 2? Just kidding.
You think It Comes at Night?
I wouldn't think of that.
It's a black family.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
I think of what's his name, Edgar something first. Like I can picture him. I can't think of his name right now.
I was just thinking of movie. And I'm not saying that would be my Quentin. I'm just thinking of movies that would have made this list.
I gotcha.
Okay, so this list right here is Watch Mojo.
What about like Sugar Hill?
We said Sugar Hill.
Oh, I'm retarded. I missed it.
So Watch Mojo, and it says top 10 black horror films. Okay, so number 10, Tales from the Hood. Number 9, Beloved from 1998. We just talked about that. Eve's Bayou, number 8. Number 7 is Attack the Block. Number 6 is People Under the Stairs. Number 5 is Blade. Number 4 is His House. Number 3 is Candyman. Number 2 is Get Out. And number 1 is Night of the Living Dead.
Wait, where's Abby?
Oh my god.
Where's Abby?
What about the angry black girl and her monster?
Oh my god, I hated that movie.
I honestly didn't. I didn't love it though, man.
I gave that movie like a 3. That movie made me like want to had it in the microwave.
It's just an urban take on fucking Frankenstein, really.
I did not like that movie.
I didn't think it was horrible. I was kind of in the middle on it. I didn't think it was. It was getting a lot of hype. It was getting a lot of fucking.
What about Black Devil Doll from Hell?
I was lukewarm on it because
I agree, JP. Where is that?
Yeah, Black Devil Doll. Is that what you said?
Oh, Black Devil Doll.
What about Children of the Corn 3 Urban Harvest?
What about Serpent in the Rainbow?
Urban Legend.
Yeah, I mean that's
Serpent in the Rainbow is an interesting one because the lead is a white dude, but like it is like
the villains are
but it takes place in Haiti, right? It takes place in Haiti, and it's all voodoo shit. Yeah, it's like it's a good one. It's actually one of Wes Craven's.
What about Killjoy?
Well, Killjoy sucks. Part 2 is better. Part 3 is better than Part 2, and I think the 4th one is probably the best one. It's crazy. But
what about Spawn?
Yeah,
if Blade makes it, Spawn makes it, right?
Sure. Sucks, but actually, no. I mean,
I've never seen it, but that was like something I always wanted to.
I like Spawn.
I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't.
What about Willard in the Hood, aka Hood Rat?
Dude, is that got Ice-T in it?
Method Man and Ice-T, I think.
Nice.
Is Method Man in that? I think he is.
Probably.
I could be wrong.
But yeah, that's what I got on some black horror films, I guess, is apparently the only way you can look up. You can't look up urban horror films. It just does not work. It's so weird to me.
There needs to be a few more. Holla. I remember that one. I got that as a Patreon before.
Holla. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I think it's like a slasher.
Yeah. It's like I think SRS released that one. Yeah, they did. They
what about the weird thing that happened to the Johnsons?
Oh, the strange thing about the Johnsons.
That's fucking perfect, man. That is the greatest short movie ever made. I'm going on record saying that, man. So I know it's a bold statement, but it is. Okay, fine. I'm not gonna say it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite short film ever made.
Wow.
It is so good, man. That shit is every time I watch
I'm
it.
so glad I put that.
Wait a minute, dude. Where's Lep in the Hood 1 and 2?
Yeah, I know. I knew you were gonna bring that up. I knew you were gonna bring that up. Actually, yeah. And speaking of Ice-T, yeah,
ridiculous.
But I mean, I've seen lists before where like Trespasses on there because it's got Ice-T and Ice Cube in there. But I mean,
Jack City
surviving the game because Ice-T is, but I mean, it's mostly white people in those films. But
oh yeah.
But
surviving the game though, kind of.
Surviving the game is awesome.
Actually, it's one of my favorites ever.
I just rewatched that. I think last summer. Actually, I got the Shell Factory Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think Shell put it out. I bought like over the last couple of years. It's weird. I bought in like a ton more Shout Factory than I bought in Scream Factory.
I bought in a lot of Shout Factory releases too. They put out some good. I mean, their Shout Select line is hit and miss with me, but I just kind of pick and choose the ones I want. But they do release a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, I have some real good stuff on there. Like the Deer Hunter is like I bought blind off of them. That's like one of my favorite movies ever.
Well, they put out those Sonny Chiba sets too, which was fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, they do a lot of cool stuff. They have like a lot of like cult comedy shit too that like I don't feel like a lot of people does. Like I remember I picked up like The Jerk, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Like those are fun movies.
Yeah,
I like those.
I agree.
What about The Blackening?
I never saw it.
It was all right.
I thought it was actually. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. Like
I watched it. Oh my god! So yeah, There was probably like it was me like up front, and there was like a bunch of black people together in the back, and like at the part where like the guy goes, "I voted for Trump." Like, oh no, it wasn't that. Yeah, it was still in that scene. That wasn't the part. When the guy said, "I've never seen Friday," the guy in the back yells, "What?" I fucking died.
Crazy.
Some guy in the back of the room just
I don't know how the hell you've never seen Friday, anybody.
Oh my God.
Let alone
I've never seen Friday, and the guy in the back of the room just goes, "What?
God damn, you guys be the stupidest motherfucker to get fired on your day off. What you doing? Stealing boxes for? You trying to build a clubhouse?"
So
Friday
I
is
fucking love that
definitely one
movie.
that there's so much crossover appeal with Friday that like it's surprising when someone hasn't seen it.
Nobody go in the bathroom for about 35, 45. You call that game? Fucking good shit, man. Okay. Well, I mean, that's it for those lists. You guys got anything? Before we get into the reviews?
No, we're good.
You guys don't want to plan out the next season of the show?
We could.
You have any more brainstorming you need to do?
Right. We just do it on here and record it all. Fuck, why not, right? Okay, so yeah, that's gonna conclude the intro. We'll be back here with some urban horror films shortly.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right, so getting into the featured reviews here on episode 260, Urban Horror, Volume 1. We are going to take it back to the glorious year of 1990 with a film called Death by Temptation, directed by James Bond.
Starring Samuel L. Jackson.
The third, not the James Bond, James Bond the third. Yeah, it's got Samuel L. Jackson in a smaller role. I think that was always one thing that was always a negative for people about this. They're like, oh, well, he's like top billed in this and stuff. And I'm like,
right on the cover, Samuel L. Jackson.
I'm like, people seem to forget that like this is 1990. He wasn't famous yet, so like, get over it, people.
Yeah. This movie was like a lot of times you'll get movies that will cast like a really popular person for just like a couple scenes so they could sell the movie. This was a case where that happened in retrospect, where they made this movie.
Yeah.
Samuel L. wasn't that big. Then he became huge, and then they marketed it as a Samuel L. Jackson movie later.
Yeah, he's really only in a couple scenes and stuff. He plays a preacher. But I mean, to be honest, like, this movie was a year or two after Bill Nunn played fucking
Radio Raheem,
and he was pretty famous from that. So I'm surprised he wasn't more top billed than Samuel L. Jackson. Like, I mean, I guess he's not that household name and stuff, but Bill Nunn was pretty famous at that time. So you got Katie Hardison in the film also. Some good stuff. Synopsis. An evil succubus is preying on libidinous black men. Can't read.
Labidious. Labidious, like libido driven.
Libido, yeah, right. I don't think I've ever read that word before.
Yeah, it's a weird word.
Right, I'm looking at the word going, holy shit, yeah, I know what it means, but I can't read it. Black men in New York City, and all that stands in their way is a minister in training, an aspiring actor, and a cop who specializes in case involving the supernatural. Well, that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, that was a good summary.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Thoughts on the Mikey? What are your thoughts on? Have you ever seen this movie? First of all, is this a first time watch for anybody?
This is a first time watch for me.
JP?
Not for me, no.
I've seen this a handful of times.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, I've seen it before a couple times. This might actually be my first time watching it, like the full version of it, because I've had the old Trauma DVD that I believe is like 7 or 8 minutes shorter. I don't remember renting this one growing up, so I've seen my DVD a couple times, so I don't know what's different about it. I couldn't really find any information on what was cut from that DVD or not. So, but anyways, well, let's start with Tyler. First time watch. What are your thoughts on Death by Temptation?
I kind of expected it to be a little bit more over the top, but it was kind of fine that it wasn't. It kind of like, it seems to be more of a story of like, literally by its title, like a man's like struggle of temptation. And yeah, it's got some cool characters in it. It takes a little bit to get going, but overall there's like enough people in it that I kind of like Rabbit too. Like I like Bill Nunn as an actor. Like I always like he does such a good job in like any movie I've ever seen, and he's like wicked underrated on that scale of like known actors. So he was someone like his character was cool in this too. Like I like the guy that played Kay. He was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff. He's got that face. Like he's actually in a bunch of things from like the 80s and 90s and stuff like that too. Not like a household name, but he's a fun actor.
Yeah, like I don't know if I even knew him from anything, but like I just like he had charisma. Like he did a good job with his part. I was a little lukewarm though, like on I forget what's his name, Joel.
James Bond the Third.
Yeah. I know that's the actor. I know he's the director, but like I was a little like lukewarm on his character. Like I think he was maybe a little bit over ambitious, maybe trying to star in this movie too.
It's funny.
I
do feel like he kind of fit the sort of nerd, like
he has this really soft timidness to him. There's like a very like soft timidness to him. That
I like his character that he talks so soft, and he's very like he's super respectable in every scene. You know what I mean?
Like he doesn't feel like he belongs.
Yeah, there's something about like just his performance. I like that's what you could argue like that is the point of it, and maybe it's just like super smart like 3D casting, but he does feel like a little like inconfident in like what he's doing.
I don't know. I think the scene where he's changing the clothes and stuff and he's trying to become like a regular. That scene's great, man. It's like, I don't, But I mean, you're right though. Like it has this nice little contrast of like male temptation and stuff. And then the crossover in the contrast of that is like, the actual temptation of, this guy's training to be a preacher. And there's always that temptation, right? Because, he wasn't bred into it and stuff. And I really like that. I mean, it's not like stuffed down your throat, but like you get the commentary that's in it and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I like it, man. And there is other social commentary issues that they don't really stuff down your like they put them in there. Like they talk about Reaganomics and stuff, and the fact that like the dude actually has a Ronald Reagan fucking doll behind his TV is like the funniest thing.
That scene was really cool. Like in my head I was like, this is like the Videodrome scene, and that was actually really well done.
I love
the video. It literally is ripped off of Videodrome. Like the director said that
it feels like Videodrome / going back to Nightmare on Elm Street. It feels like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I got both of those things from it. The first thing I thought was Videodrome. It's like one of my favorite movies. Yeah, it really does, because at the end of it, like when he comes out of it, it does that. It reminds me of the same thing, like Freddy sticking his head through the screen.
Yeah, he spits him out.
Yeah, cool, it feels like Videodrome by way of however they did the wall effect in Nightmare on Elm Street, but do it for the TV with like the pushing through.
Right.
So it was very reminiscent.
I mean, it's kind of like a homage. Sure. I take it as like a homage, to be honest, like not like a straight up ripoff. Like they know exactly that people are going to recognize what they're watching, right? Like
it's just not. I'm
just saying he said he ripped it off.
Yeah, some of the kill scenes were like good too. Like that first one where they actually had the dude like running naked with his dick flopping everywhere.
Oh, that's a great scene. Yeah,
that's a great scene. I wish like the movie kind of kept that same intensity.
I feel like it kind of does for a lot of it though. Like I feel like
it slows down. Like I felt like they kind of peaked a little too early with like such a good like scene like that.
Yeah, the movie's a little bit repetitive, but it's also because of Bill Nunn's character, right? He plays this like he plays this cop who investigates like supernatural stuff and stuff, right? So his job is to sit at this bar and watch this girl that he's got a tip on that might be doing some shady shit, right? But so you have to have the guys coming and going and not, getting killed. You have to kind of repeat that over and over again. Actually, my favorite scene in the entire film is when Bill Nunn's talking to that girl and he accuses her of being in Penthouse. And like, he won't fucking let it go. And he's like, come on, just confess. You were in Penthouse. I fucking died laughing, dude. It's such a great scene. Like he's fully convinced that he saw her in fucking Penthouse. And she's like, no, man, I wasn't in fucking Penthouse. It's fucking awesome, dude. It's a great part.
I like the scene where she's like, welcome to the disease that there's no cure for.
Right. Yeah, that's a great fucking line, man. It's great stuff. But yeah, like I feel like, like going back to, those intense scenes and stuff like that, I feel like they're kind of far in between in the film. I mean, the third act, it definitely shapes up to, it has a pretty decent finale to it. But yeah, there is a little bit slower moments in this film and stuff. But I mean, I like the whole succubus idea though. I think
the succubi are not very featured in movies, so I'm a big fan of like
female demons. Like they're just there to fucking basically to take their souls, right?
Yeah. So, I think it's an underrated type of horror. The stuff that I really love about Death by Temptation is I love the smoky, moody atmosphere.
Yeah, there's some
that
good
just
smoke in
screams
this.
90s.
The bar is fantastic, dude. And
Like
there's a funny.
so many scenes are just there's smokiness everywhere in the scene, like just scenes that you wouldn't even expect and stuff.
You know, for someone that really was like a first time filmmaker, you know, he did a really good job with, you know, creating some pretty awesome atmosphere and actually having a pretty decent story and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Like this movie feels like it's almost bigger than it actually is. There's really no budget to this film. It's crazy. Like what he did.
The Wikipedia says 5 million, but I ain't buying.
There's no way they shot this. All the bedroom scenes and all the house scenes and stuff were shot at Lawrence Fishburne's actual house.
Yeah,
he lent them the house, so they didn't even pay for that. Like he just lent him, you know. And like, there's a great fucking scene, and I find this really creepy too. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I always have a weird thing with this when people have their beds in the middle of the room. Is that not creepy to you? Why the fuck would you have your bed in the middle of a room? Like, they're
weird.
It is, man, because there's a scene in this film where they're fucking on a bed, and the bed's in the middle of the damn room. I'm like, wow, it's really creepy. It's so creepy to me. It's got great atmosphere, and there's actually even like smoke in that scene too. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's like good jazzy, like 90s jazzy type.
Yeah, it's kind of got that. Oh, the jazz in the early 90s, man. And the beats are so dope. And it's like, it's done by a bunch of like no-name artists and stuff, but there's a great song in here that actually samples Chuck D's bass. And that was pretty cool. So like the music is great in the film, but like what really gets me about this movie, and we'll end up talking about the cinematographer later on. What's the middle initial? Ernest R. Dickerson.
Mm-hmm. So
he shot this movie, and it makes a lot of sense why it looks the way it does, because this guy's, you know, became a director later on. And we'll get into that and stuff like that. But I think it's shot beautifully, man. For a low budget film, they do a really good job with this. So, I mean, I recommend this movie.
Yeah, to me, it definitely has the feeling of that early mid 90s era, or all that era of indie film when there was some real aspiration going on, but they were smart enough to not get too big for like what they could undertake with like the budget, focus on the story, the characters. And then I appreciate the practical effects, like the effort put into like, let's do what we can, where like a lot of modern stuff now, they would just throw some like cheap ass looking CGI stuff. And
well, they do some good sound too with like the like kills and stuff. Like it sounds really gross. Like,
yeah. The TV scene is a really good scene though. Like it's pretty well done.
Yeah, I like the cast ensemble. There's a lot of actors in here that were either on the cusp or just about to be on the cusp. I mean, we've already mentioned most of them, but I know Kadeem Hardison, like he would get probably big a couple years later as the shit talker in White Man Can't Jump on the basketball court with Wesley Snipes in that opening scene. Bill Nunn, I think it was already got mentioned, Radio Raheem, and then I remember he was the cop in Sister Act like a couple years later, and then obviously Samuel Jackson, although he plays a really small part in this, obviously he went on to great fame. But I like that they focus on the story. I think a lot of times indie films, sometimes they get caught up putting the resources in the wrong things, but this one I feel like it's a pretty simple, basic story, but it's well done. It's paced. Once it gets going, I think the pace is pretty good, and I like the reveals. I like the kills for the most part, and I think they just put together a pretty solid movie here. And they're not trying to get too big for like what they're able to handle, and I think that's a credit as well.
Yeah, for a film that's like 95 minutes long, like I mean, it does have its little slower parts and stuff, but I feel like it's just got this. It's got this great mood to it, man, and it doesn't go over the top of the comedy. Like there's that montage scene where, you know, James Bond III, his character is, you know, changing clothes, is trying, you know, basically trying to fit in kind of thing, right? And like it doesn't go over the top, and I think it's just such a, I don't know, man. It's just it feels like a homey scene, you know what I mean? Like not as in like Homeboys, but it just has that kind of quality to it. I don't know, man. The performances are great in this, man. I really like Katie Hardison is great. I think he has a small part in the movie Rappin' from like 1985. I think he's in that film. I mostly remember him from what Mike said from White Man Can't Jump, but of course he was in School Days also, right? The Spike Lee film. He did an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I think he plays one of Will's homeboys from Philly in one of the episodes. I don't know if you guys ever seen that one, where he calls up his buddy and stuff, and it's actually him in that episode. He was in Panther, Vampire in Brooklyn, which we brought up earlier in the show.
Fun fact about this movie that Joe Bob mentioned on the last drive-in when they showed this, which oddly enough, this was shown for Walpurgisnacht, which is at the end of April. So like we're almost actually like timing this when that was shown, which is interesting. But he mentioned that this film was released in Sweden in 97.
Yeah, years later. Yeah.
It was released as Vampire in Brooklyn 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually read that in the fun facts or whatever, and I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, because Vampire in Brooklyn had just come out, right? So why not piggyback off that?
Yeah, but Vampire in Brooklyn came out after this movie, so it's like one of those weird cases where it's like
oh, was it after? Oh, I thought it was 96.
Vampire in Brooklyn came out in 95.
Oh, 95. Yeah.
This was 90 in the US, but came out in 97 in Sweden.
Yeah, so it never actually got, like, this movie didn't technically come out in 1990 though. Like, it didn't come out to like 92 in the US or something like that. I think it was kind of shelved for a couple years or something like that.
Yeah, for a little bit. But Joe Bob also said that there wasn't when Troma bought the rights, there wasn't as much, like, it needed a little bit more, marketable like horror stuff. So they had done some extra like reshoots. So I think that's like the difference in like the cuts of the versions.
Oh, okay.
Is like they went and filmed some extra stuff. So I assume that's probably the version that we mostly see now.
So maybe some of the stuff in the third act isn't in the original DVD.
Yes, that's what I believe that it's the case. That actually Lloyd,
and I'm starting to think you're right,
the camera work on there, and I guess he was really nervous about offending Dickerson essentially.
Right. Yeah, it actually makes a lot of sense actually now, because I'm watching this going like, I mean, there were certain parts in the film I didn't really remember too, but like a lot of that stuff I didn't remember, and it's probably what it is because I had never seen it before. Makes a lot more sense now, actually. It's crazy. So, very interesting little tidbits there. Yeah, it's a fun film, man. I think for, this is how you make low budget movies, man. Like, these type of character actors, they sell the shit so much for me, man. Like, just really good performances.
Just write a simple, easy to follow story and let the cast like
take it over, man. Yeah, I think everyone's really good in this.
It also just feels very authentic with the actual like the club scenes and like the Black culture. It helps that it was obviously made by Black people and Black actors and directors and stuff like that, to really feel authentic. And I think that that's like a very strong point of the film.
It's kind of disappointing a little bit. Yeah. They bring up they make the joke about what's this kid? Joel makes the joke about going to the bar because he doesn't drink, right? And he makes a joke about getting a milk at the bar and having him throw it down the bar, like a beer, right? But they never do it. And I'm like, oh, that would have been so fucking awesome if they actually had him at the end of the bar and he throws down this milk.
Yeah, I like that part where he's like, I didn't look like there was milk in that glass.
Yeah, chocolate.
Dude, that's exactly what I was thinking when Moodz said that.
Right.
The chocolate milk.
I said that, you fuck.
Excuse me, I meant JP, not Moodz. Sorry.
Reassigning credit.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff. I'm a fan. Was it Cynthia? What is her name that
Cynthia
plays?
Bond. I don't think she's related.
No, I don't think so.
I tried to find out, but I was like, I hope it's not like a sister or something. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, right? Yeah, she does a great job though, man. Really good job in the film. But yeah, again, man, great performances. Just a fun movie, man. Really kind of like super underrated. right? This is one you never hear really anyone talk about. So,
no, I didn't even know about
true.
this. Like until we were talking about it a few weeks ago.
you know, even since like Vinegar Syndrome put out a nice release of it, like it still doesn't really get mentioned from what I've seen.
I think after Joe Bob showed it, it definitely got a little bit more fans.
Mm-hmm.
He did Black Sunday in this for Walpurgis Night, like
Black Sunday and Death by Temptation. What the
That's
fuck?
a weird double feature.
What a weird double feature. Like it's two totally different realms of film.
I mean, you have the religious tie-in, I guess.
Well, it's supposed to be like it's like a pagan holiday.
Yeah, I don't really know what that is actually.
So it has to do with like witches and
right,
stuff like that. You know,
I guess that makes sense with Black Sunday because that's what it is. It's about witches.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they've actually made that holiday like kind of known now. They're doing the next episode of The Last Drive-In is like the Walpurgis Night 3, the third year they're doing it.
Well, that's cool.
I think they did last year. They did Nosferatu, the original, and I think Nosferatu the 79 one.
You know, it's funny, JP, that The Last Drive-In's coming up because in the opening segment, I forgot to ask, but I was going to ask everyone if they've seen any of the new season episodes of The Last Drive-In and what they think of the new format.
I actually like the new format a lot. I didn't think I was going to, but I kind of like the idea of like they're still going to do multi features on special occasions, but I think it works. I like it. It makes the season last way longer because it's every other week.
Yeah, I like the format. It just sucks because for me specifically, because on the West Coast, that means we get it at 6 o'clock. So like usually I still have stuff going on. Like if the VOD was made immediately after the episode ended, like you could just like rewind it or just click
that would
watch
be
it.
nice.
It would be great for me just so I could start it when the second movie would usually start. Because I have no issue with like doing single movie episodes of it. I just wish it didn't start so early.
Well, especially because they said that this season will actually have more total movies than the previous season.
Yeah, and I agree. And the fact that now that they're doing these single movie episodes, whenever they do it, they can put so much into like the extra stuff, like just the Joe Bob segment,
like the grilled cheese stuff from last Friday. This past Friday was really fun. It was funny.
Yeah. It feels like it never seemed like there was constraints on the Joe Bob segments, but now even less so because there's only one movie to work around.
Yeah, it was comfort food night.
When did they change the format?
This season.
Okay.
Yeah. This is season 6.
Crazy. I've missed a lot of them. They're usually they're always playing when I'm out of town, so I'm like, fuck, whatever. Never go back.
Yeah, they changed the format to be every other week instead of every week, and they're only showing one movie. But on like special occasions, they'll do multiple movies still. Like the opening episode for the season was 2 movies. It was a Roger Corman double feature. They had Roger on there, and then I know that they're bringing back Summer School this summer, which is super exciting.
Do you think the algorithms, they pulled data to look at like subscription activity, and they're like, hey, all these people,
it's 100%. It has to do.
Yeah,
it definitely has to do with that. It's a way to keep people subscribed longer. Which I don't even get why people complain about the subscription. Like Shudder is one of the most affordable streaming services there are.
Like $5.
I think it's like $6.99.
I think it's like $7.99 or something like that now.
Yeah, I'm subscribed to AMC. That's like $6.99, which is like well worth it. You get all the Shudder with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still or at least for me, it's still so cheap that like I don't think I've noticed a single time a Shudder bills come out of my account because it's just not. It's so
there's like literally like
I don't even keep track of it.
Well, yeah, Netflix is about like $24 now for having the 4K
Netflix
channel.
Is ridiculous.
Like when I first subscribed back in like 2009 or whatever it was like $7.
$7.99.
Yeah, it was. Now it's like it's literally tripled. It's crazy. Yeah, because you got to pay extra for the 4K. So if you want, you got the 4K shit, it's like an extra like $3-4. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, shut up. You don't even fucking have anything on there.
Yeah, Netflix is like one of the few subscription services I don't have access to anymore.
I literally just keep it because I watch all the true crime stuff on there. I actually watched a documentary just before I got on here.
Best thing they are.
Yeah,
but
Jennifer did
one
it,
unfortunate thing about a lot of those documentaries they're doing now is like a lot of them have been covered by YouTubers and honestly like just as good. Like that Jennifer one I'm super familiar with already because
it was a fucking Canadian one. I actually didn't know the story. It's crazy. Yeah, she was a dumb bitch, man. Fuck that plan up. Like right from the opening scene, I was like, she says on her 911 call, she's like, I'm tied up. And I'm like, how the fuck you making this call then? Right there. And that was the big part and like a big break in the thing. Like, how the fuck did she make this call? She was tied up. Like fucking bullshit. I said it right away. 2 seconds in the documentary, I'm like, she did it. So fucking dummy.
My current Netflix algorithm has it recommended me all sorts of like international disaster, dystopian, and like pandemic shows. It's crazy. Every day I open it up, it's like, here's a show from Russia or Sweden or Norway.
I never look at the recommendations because I just don't care. It's like doesn't bother me.
Well, it's weird because it's like all these shows that came out in the last 2 years, but they were never on my feed until right now. I'm like, man, I wish you would have told me about this when it was brand new. And there's just too many. Like, I feel like I need a recommendation. If you're gonna recommend me this topic of show, give me like the best 3 ratings wise, because like I can't watch 20 of them. Like, there's I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to watch 20 shows about like a volcano erupting and creating havoc on a town. Tell me which one's the best out of all of them and I'll watch it, but I can't watch them all.
All right. So Death by Temptation, you guys got anything else on it?
Nope.
I don't want to give too much away from it. I feel like it's just a little bit underseen.
Just said it's currently on Shudder and with a Joe Bob episode. So if people haven't seen it, they should. Easy to access.
And if you can't watch it that way, you can purchase a copy from Vinegar Syndrome. I think
it's like, isn't it out of print now or going?
There was not a lot left when I bought it a few weeks ago.
Okay. Cool. Ratings, Tyler, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. I think it's got some, maybe some inexperienced sore spots in it, but it's got a good effort and it gets the important things right. So I'll give it a 6.5.
JP.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7.
Mikey.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think it's kind of one of the better ways to go about independent filmmaking. Don't want to oversell it for people who haven't seen it. Like, it is gonna be a lower budget, a movie with a simple story to get through. But I like it, so I'm gonna give it a 7 as well.
Yeah, I'm also into the 7 on this one too. And again, this is how you make low budget films, man. You have good character actors, good characters, simple story that actually is developed and executed pretty well. Decent effects, nice shoutouts, great music, good cinematography. Fuck, you can't go wrong, man. It's definitely a recommendation for myself. Check it out, man. Especially just for the early 90s sax, the sexy sax that's in it. Fuck yeah. Mm-hmm. And the creepy weird ass bed in the middle of the room. The fuck? Stop. What is this, deathbed? Christ.
The bed that eats.
Yeah. If anything, watch it for the ensemble of people that you probably recognize from other places. And this is how some of them got their early starts.
Right. It's very, very true, man. Bill Nunn, he's fucking boss in this film, man. He's so funny. I love him. All right. So that is Death by Temptation from 1990. 42 shots. All right, so get into the second featured film review here from 2001. Bones. Yes, starring the immortal Snoop Dogg, directed by Ernest R. Dickerson, who was a cinematographer on Death by Temptation. So you kind of know what you're getting yourself into with this one, I guess, visually a little bit. It's got a lot of characters in this one too, man. It's got Ricky Harris. Rest in peace to Ricky Harris, man. It's got Clifton Powell. He's a fun actor, man. I always remember from fucking what is it, Next Friday? Plays Pinky in Next Friday, right? JP?
JP fell asleep.
Did JP leave us or what?
What
a fucking piece of shit.
He fell asleep.
What a fucking piece of shit.
Whatever happened last episode happens again.
Fucking like, okay. Did he message that he's going somewhere or what?
No, he just fell asleep.
Okay. Yeah, so Clifton Powell's in this one. He plays Pinky in like Next Friday and Friday After Next and stuff. You got Ricky Harris, rest in peace, Ricky Harris. Michael T. Weiss is in this, and one of the most beautiful women in the world ever, and that's Pam Grier. Surprisingly, actually, in the movie quite a bit. I hadn't seen it in a while, so I kind of forgot about that. But
Catherine Isabel's in it.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Catherine Isabel.
Yeah, and
I forgot about that going into it.
Yeah, me too, man. Actually, Deezer D's in the film too, plays Stank. He's been around and stuff. But yeah, Catherine Isabel's in the film because this movie was actually all filmed in Vancouver. So it makes complete sense because she's from Vancouver. So that makes a lot more sense. Actually, this movie was filmed when I was going to school there. And I actually knew some people that were, I think, working around or maybe even on the film at the time. I can't remember if they were specifically working on Bones and stuff, but it was like big talk, like, oh yeah, Snoop's in town, he's filming this movie, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of cool. I think it was filmed in 2000. I think it was my first year in music school at the time, and it came out in 2001. But anyways,
I love Clifton Powell. You mentioned him already, but man, from Menace to Society and Dead Presidents, I love his characters in those movies.
Oh yeah, Dead Presidents, Menace to Society for sure. Yeah, I always think of it as Pinky, man, because he's just fucking out of control as Pinky in Next Friday and shit.
Yeah.
It's just fucking so amped up, so ramped up, man. Synopsis: Over 20 years after his death by a gunshot, Jimmy Bones comes back as a ghost to wreak revenge on those who killed him and clean up his neighborhood. Yeah. Have you guys seen Bones before?
I have not.
Yeah. You've never seen it? You've seen Bones before? Yeah. Did you watch it like back in the day when it came out and stuff?
Yeah, I don't think I saw it in the theater, but I did, whenever it was made it with its way to the video store or whatever. I watched it then. Yeah.
I probably would have loved it if I saw it then.
Yeah, it was fun. I watched it when it first came out too, because like I said, it was kind of like not like a huge deal in Vancouver, but it was, it was filmed there and stuff, and a lot of the locals just really wanted to see the end product and stuff, right?
And it definitely had the novelty at the time, because like Snoop Dogg, and there's that whole thing, like I think I don't even know if it was verified as fact, but I remember reading that like Snoop Dogg, he was like, I want to play like Freddy, like a Freddy-like character. So like that's how he ended up getting into the movie. They're like, okay, and because this is sort of like somewhat trying to do that in its own interesting way, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the narrative in the film at times doesn't even really make a lot of fucking sense. I mean, we understand it's a revenge film. I mean, the movie starts out in like I guess 1979, right? I think it's 1979. Anyways, he's
I think it starts out in like present day, then 1979.
No. I'm saying the back. You know what I mean? I'm just saying the backstory is like from 79 with.
It looks pretty good.
Snoop plays this character called Jimmy Bones. He's like a neighborhood dealer. He's big time. He's kind of big time. Anyways, he gets basically assassinated. He gets kind of fucked over, and he gets killed and shit like that. And it kind of jumps forward to the present time. And then where it just basically turns into a revenge type thing. Like he gets killed in this building. The son of Pinky, I'm just going to call him fucking Pinky. He ends up buying this building, and he wants to, their goal is to like open up a club in this place and stuff. But the soul of Jimmy Bones is found in the basement and stuff. And it kind of gets resurrected a little bit.
It's really the soul of Jimmy Bones is in the dog.
Right. Is in the dog, which is totally unexplained in this movie. I never understood why the soul was in the dog. And it's like a weirdest premise too, because the soul is trapped in this dog that's like in this house when they buy this place to make this club. But like, I can't fully grasp the idea of how Jimmy Bones gets fully resurrected. Like is the dog creating or getting power from like biting and eating people that kind of gives the flesh back? Okay. So I just wanted to be clear on that.
It's very Hellraiser-ish.
Very Hellraiser. I was thinking that too. I'm like, okay, is that what it's
I thought this felt a lot like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street and Hellraiser. That's exactly the
Dude, when they had the riddle like right at the beginning and the girls jumping around.
Oh, the Jimmy Bones thing is pretty cool. Actually, there's a couple songs on the soundtrack that like Jimmy Bones and stuff. I like how they kind of create like
Eminem song in this.
Yeah. Well, it's a
That's
D12.
awesome.
It's a D12 song.
Oh,
It's a D12 song. It's very, very D12 of 2001. It sounds exactly what you would hear on the records. It's. I actually listened to the soundtrack yesterday before the fights and stuff, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty average. I hadn't listened to it probably in 20 fucking years, but there are some decent songs on the soundtrack. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, I think Snoop does an okay job in the film. You know,
I like that he's like he's almost like a Robin Hood like character. Like he like cares about his community, and like although he's doing like illegal shit, he's not like selling crack. You know?
That's actually
your
what gets him killed.
Your friendly neighborhood dealer that's down for the cause, even though he's doing a bad things in a way, but he's like trying to like give back to the community anyway.
Yeah. He has morals, right? Like, I mean, they kind of bring what I suspect was crack at the time, and he didn't want any part of it. He's like, I don't want to fucking do this shit.
Yeah.
And essentially is what gets them killed and stuff. They're like, well, fuck you. If you don't want to do this shit, then we're going to take over and kind of thing. And he gets fucked over that way. So it's kind of like that anti-hero type style, right? You know, he's still doing shady shit, but he's not willing to go to that level, you know. To my amazement, man, I was amazed that Pam Grier was actually in this film as much as she was. I was expecting.
Dude, she is like so freaking gorgeous, man.
Dude, I know. Like she was like, fuck, I don't know how old she is in this movie, man. Like she's
like 52.
Yeah, coming off of she was just in the Tarantino film Jackie Brown a couple years prior.
That was 4 years before this.
And looking, she is so gorgeous in that movie. Like, just insanely good.
I completely forgot that Catherine Isabel was in this as well, and she's fucking gorgeous in this movie too.
Yeah, well, I explained it away. I don't know if you heard me, but she's in this movie because this was all filmed in Vancouver, and she's from there. So she was locally casted, right, for the film.
This would have been right
after Ginger Snaps.
Freddy versus Jason after Ginger Snaps.
Yeah, Freddy versus Jason was another one that was filmed. I think at the time I was going. When did Freddy vs. Jason come out?
2002, I think.
Was it 2002? It came out, right? So it was. I think it was filmed.
Ginger Snaps was 2000.
Let me fact check myself here.
And it was in 2002.
Freddy vs. Jason was 2003, and
2000.
Because I know because my buddy worked on Freddy vs. Jason. And I believe that was filmed in 2000 because I was in my second year I was in Vancouver at the time too when that was filmed. So, but yeah, anyways. So what are your guys' thoughts on Bones as a whole? Mikey, what are your thoughts?
This movie's all right. I'll be honest. I like it a little less on this watch. It has some entertaining moments. I think the story's a little all over the place with what's going on with the what do you call it, the condo building or apartment building, and this I do like the slumlord idea. I do like I think Snoop, I guess he does like a decent job for what his capabilities are, because like I said before, going into the fact that he kind of wanted to play a Freddy Krueger like character, and they kind of, okay, here it is, here's your role. He's fine for what that is. The cast is pretty good. I think I don't know, man. The story to me is a little bit of a slog to get through, but luckily the movie's not over. I think it's like just over 90 minutes, so it still goes by pretty fast. This, much like Death by Temptation, felt like an early 90s style movie. This definitely feels of its time in like the early 2000s, as we're kind of like transitioning out of the 90s style, but the early 2000s haven't taken totally a hold yet of like the new generation. So this feels kind of like that transitional period of late 90s into early 2000s. So it's of that time. And it is funny to see like Snoop back when he was like young, because I think like in the last decade or so, he's become such like a like more pop culture crossover star now, was where like back then he was still primarily known as like being a gangster rapper. So like this is could be almost one of the first steps of like crossing over to like a bigger audience, but he's still so damn young looking in this movie compared to like how we see him today. So I do find it entertaining.
He wasn't even 30 years old when this movie came out.
Yeah, because exactly. He was a young,
but he was. I mean, he was 18 in what 1991. So what is this 2001? So 10 years. So he was about 28, 29 years old in this film. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think this was like the era because like obviously like the gangster rap era of the 90s, but like as we go to the 2000s, you definitely are starting to see like crossover, not just Snoop, but just in general. Like the genre is exploding, obviously. And this is probably one of those moments where, you know, it's opening up the door for more stuff like this, but entertaining, but it's an all right movie. I wasn't over the moon about it this time. I think when I initially saw it way back when it hit like the video store, because like I mentioned, I didn't see it in the theater, but I think there was like that novelty aspect to it back then, but you kind of lose that when you rewatch it after so many years and you're kind of removed from the era it came out in. So that's why it went down a little, but I still liked it, you know, enough.
Yeah, it's honestly, I still have fun with it, man. I mean, it's not, it like I said, it feels like Nightmare on Elm Street. It feels like Hellraiser and stuff, but it still does this kind of its own thing and stuff. I think I love the scene in the film where they make Pam Grier like stab him and stuff like that. Like that whole scene where he gets murdered and shit is just fucking brutal to me, man.
Yeah, the whole build to that like flashback that you knew was going to happen was pretty good.
Yeah, I like that whole thing.
I kind of feel like some of the flashbacks were like,
I felt like that was the best stuff.
Well done stuff.
That was the most interesting stuff to me because it built a nice mystery where he's dead in the basement from like the second you come in the house.
Yeah, and when they set him up to get killed and that whole sequence, as they're forcing like all his like former associates to like take part in it. Okay, it's like, okay, we know what they're getting set up for. That revenge is coming.
Yeah, like the whole storyline with Clifton Powell's character and stuff, like the dad. Yeah,
but like how like the whole setup to like why everything's happening now I thought that was definitely like the most compelling stuff of the movie.
Yeah, I think the Clifton Powell, like the father in the film, like his character is a little bit complex, right? Because he's kind of torn, right? Like he doesn't.
Dude, I felt so dumb. I thought that was Ernie Hudson.
Oh my god, Ernie Hudson's actually in the next one.
Yeah,
he will be making an appearance later.
Then I saw him in that, and I was like, that wasn't Ernie Hudson. I'm an idiot.
No, Clifton Powell's character is interesting, man, because he's wrapped up in the murder of Jimmy Bones and stuff, right? And his son is the one that's like bought this place back down in the hood, and that scene where he just fucking freaks the fuck out on him and be like, oh, I thought you were gonna be happy for me, you know, I went out there and I'm trying to create something out of nothing and shit, and he's like, no, you can't fucking do this and shit, because he knows what's there, right? Yeah. I love that whole shit, man. It's kind of cool.
He's like De Niro in A Bronx Tale, trying to teach his son to stay out of the
right. But Clifton Powell's a great actor, though, man. He plays when he gets all riled up and shit, man. Like he fucking plays that role really good, man. Like when he plays the Pinky shit, dude. Like he's awesome, man. But he just fucking loses his mind in this, man. It's crazy. But good performance though. Ricky Harris is cool. Michael T. Weiss in the film, man. Like all he's doing is fucking eating. He's eating in like every scene. Is disgusting, man. It drives me fucking nuts. Ugh, it's gross. But you know what? Actually, the one thing about this film that drives me nuts, dude. I don't know if they did this on purpose, if it was like a shout out to like old, like Italian giallos with the blood color, but the blood is like paint red in this, man.
Yeah,
it doesn't look. I don't know if it's the transfer on the Scream Factor Blu-ray or if that's actually what the blood looked like, but it's super fucking red and it's like annoying to me. It's super annoying.
Yeah,
in certain scenes, like this. I don't know.
A couple of specific scenes that where it really stood out. Like, is that literally red paint?
Yeah, it looks like red paint. Like in the scene that there's a really cool. You generally don't hear me say this because you know me with dream sequences. I fucking hate dream sequences that aren't actually part of like a dream movie. But there's a pretty cool dream sequence with Pam Grier, like where she's like getting all bloodied up and shit like that. And so, but that blood is just like, it kind of ruins it a little bit because it's overly too red. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not like in love with that shit. But
yeah.
I mean, there's some pretty bad CG kind of moments in the film too. But most of the effects in the film are practical, though, right? Like, I mean, I would say probably 90% of the effects are practical, which is kind of shocking.
I think at least the kills are. There's like other sequence, like
the transformations and stuff like that. Like the transformations, just like Hood of Horror, like there's some bad kind of transformation scenes that are CG'd and stuff like that. And it looks very like 90s, like super 90s and shit. But
yeah, this is definitely that era where they start experimenting. These guys, but not these guys, just across the genre. They really start experimenting with CGI before it's really ready to be presentable.
Yeah, actually, I think is it the fucking, I can't remember the scene, the seance scene with the blood. I think is it the dog? Is it Pam Grier's? Is it the dog? I can't even remember. But
yeah, it's that Pam Grier's.
Yeah,
it goes through her. But this movie had better fire than The Omen.
It did actually.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Oh, man. I was surprised.
It didn't actually have like bad CG, but there was some real bad green screen.
Maybe a couple of green scenes. I mean, there was a couple parts with CG that didn't really look the greatest. You know what? I was actually kind of surprised in the scene where Jimmy Bones gets shot up and stuff. Like they used the squibs actually were pretty cool. I wasn't like, I didn't remember that. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So I like a good squib where that blood is just like fucking blowing out of your body and shit. Is pretty cool. But
yeah.
I mean, Snoop dies pretty good though, man. Cause like his reaction to dying, like the way he just kind of like lets it out. He's like, and like the way, I don't know, man, I actually felt bad for him in that scene. It was pretty well done, to be honest.
They have a good build to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so a lot of the stuff that was like the more like present day things was a little bit directionless, and
it seemed like a slog a little bit.
Yeah, like I do think while we were following the storyline of like why he was there and all that, from him like rising up, I thought like that was like pretty, like it did a pretty like good job of staying entertaining in that stretch and like creating like something that you're invested in. But then like he got up, and because of the way he like his character was written, he couldn't just like slaughter the house, which like you kind of wish he would have just been able to do, and that would have been awesome.
Well,
because
honestly, if he had like when he fully got resurrected, like in the club scene and shit, it would have turned into Hellraiser 3.
Yeah, like he could have just like because of
scene.
how he, that would have been awesome. But like because of the way he's written, they couldn't really do that because it just like wouldn't make any sense.
No, because he's like an anti-hero. Like he's not supposed
exactly.
to be doing, he's only getting revenge on the people that did him wrong. Like he's not going to go out there and kill.
Yeah, exactly. He's not there to kill innocent people.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like, but from there on, I felt like the movie really kind of got lost in itself.
I mean, there is some comedic moments where he's like holding the head and shit like that.
Yeah, I thought that stuff was just
it looks super CG, like it's super bad CG.
Yeah, it's shit, like that whole concept of the head thing was kind of dumb to begin with, but like when you put it on top of like the CG, like you just didn't need to do that. You could have just killed them and it would have been awesome.
What about the dog puking the maggots and shit? Oh my
Some of that stuff was gross. That was cool.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. But yeah, I mean I mean like the whole end of the film, like with the whole dead people, zombie shit and stuff, I thought it was pretty cool, man. I don't know. I actually don't mind this movie. I mean, it's nothing
I didn't mind this movie either. Like it's like if it was entertaining at least for what it wasn't like awful.
No, I'm just surprised that like, for knowing who Snoop was up until, 2000, 2001 and shit like that, for him to do and want to do this type of film is pretty cool, actually. Cause like, it just seemed way out of left field and like out of the realm of Snoop. Cause he wasn't like a horrorcore rapper or something like that. He didn't really ever touch on this type of stuff. It was kind of shocking to see him in something like this and like that he wanted to do himself. But it's kind of cool because it gave him the opportunity to create a character, him probably growing up watching blaxploitation films, like Jimmy Bones just sounded very much from that era, to set it in the late 70s and shit like that.
Yeah,
I think it's just a
cool character.
Yeah, super cool character.
It's the G funk horror.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But
I guess it came out on Halloween, because I'm looking at the box art and it says this Halloween Unleash the Dog. So
in 2001, yeah,
it could just be Halloween season. I feel like this is just something you throw on.
That's what I meant. Halloween season, hopefully, yeah.
JP, you still there?
He said BRB in the chat at 6:20. So
he left again. He's probably got some work shit he's taking care of as usual. He's missing the whole fucking Bones talk.
Or Jimmy Bones got him. Maybe that happened.
Yeah, Jimmy Bones fucking got him, man.
Or he did say something at 9:14, so we just didn't see it.
Jimmy Bones is haunting his hotel.
Intermission. Just be like, all right, JP, you have the floor. Everything you need to say about Bones, go.
You know, the whole dog thing still trips me out because, like, you know,
it's
in
just
the
kind of
flashback,
like there, you know what I mean?
The whole flashback scenes, I don't remember a dog being there. Was there a dog in his?
No, it was just a plot device that they just put in there.
Yeah, because like how did the soul get transferred into the dog anyways? Because it would have made a lot more sense in that flashback scene if, you know, he was shown, if we were shown as an audience, like there was a dog in that room, right? So when he died, you know, he loved his dog so much, his soul went into whatever. That would have made a lot more sense. But it's like these guys show up at the place and there's a dog like in a room with the door closed and like, oh, where'd you come? How long just you
been? That's somehow domesticated enough to just like hang out with them and like not eat them.
It's such a weird thing. I was always confused by that.
Said so.
Right. It just fucking does it. There's no explanation. It's like,
so
okay,
it's like, dude, like they're like, dude, we're trying to make like a fun movie. Like, hopefully you guys like have a good time. You bring your girlfriend to the movies and just, you know, have a fucking blast. Like, because the movie said so. That's why.
Yeah, going back to what JP said about, he's like, oh, is there an Eminem song? I'm like, yeah, it's a D12 song, but that scene's funny too because it's like two white guys in a car. Of course, they're listening to fucking Eminem, right?
I've been two white guys in a car listening to Eminem.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it wouldn't be any of the other songs that are on the soundtrack. It's got to have the one that's got a white dude in it, but it's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I think I watched, like when Scream Factory put out this Blu-ray, I think I watched it again then, and it was weird because like I was watching this and like I didn't really remember it too well.
Yeah, I've been interested in this movie since they came out, but it's just like with like the amount of like labels I collect now and how I'm like really sale driven, like Scream Factory just really doesn't present a lot of opportunities for you to buy their things.
No,
at a reasonable price.
They got terrible sales, man.
Shell Factory has way better sales. Like a couple times a year, they're like, "Hey, here's a bunch of stuff, dirt cheap."
Right. Yeah, so, it's kind of
on your game, Scream. Like you're the bottom feeder in this horror game now.
All right.
Yeah, well, I had definitely forgotten some of the details. Like I generally remembered like how the plot went, and like I remembered like most of like what Snoop himself did throughout the movie, but some of like the story stuff I had forgotten.
I do like the House on Haunted Hill reference. That they do make kind of a joke about staying in the house for a little bit, and then you're gonna get some of that Vincent Price money and shit. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm always down for a good reference.
Oh my god, this coyote guy is gonna win me stuff. Yes.
Should we get into some ratings? JP, what's your thoughts on Bones?
Yeah. I actually really like Bones. I have seen this before. I own it on VHS. I picked it up like years and years ago, going out of print, going out of business, video store sale that I grabbed it, and I haven't probably seen it in so long though. But I like the aspects of like Snoop being like sort of like a good bad guy, you know what I mean? And then like I like the idea of like the kid. Well, first of all, it was very interesting that there's two brothers and a sister. Like it was kind of weird that they chose to do it that way, but I kind of like it. But I like the idea that they're, and
the fact that the sister's white.
Well, yeah, stepsister.
Yeah,
because the mom's white.
Yeah,
but I like the camaraderie between the siblings and stuff like that. But I really like the idea that the father, who is very successful, but he did it like there's like an allegory there where like Snoop was doing like illegal shit, but he like kept like a moral compass, and this other dude did illegal shit but did not have the moral compass, and he essentially like, you know, did whatever he could to get to the top, and is really kind of scummy about the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, I brought that up too about there's a great scene where, you know, the son brings him to his new business venture and he fucking loses his mind. He's like, man, he's like, I worked so fucking hard to get out of this shitty ass ghetto, and now you brought it right back. You're like, you got to fucking sell this place right away, blah, blah, blah. And there's like a total allegory right there. And like, there's a lot of commentary that's happening there too, right? So
yeah, I think it's super neat how like they tackle that. I think the actual plot with like how the like it's like half ghost, half like dog, half like I think that the whole dog thing is just because his name's Snoop Dogg, and they were like,
well, like I said, I don't know if you heard this, but like the part with the dog is confusing to me, because if they had to set it up in the flashback scenes in the 70s when he gets killed, if there was a dog in that room, it would have made a lot of sense for his soul to go into the dog that he loved. But they don't show the dog. The dog just appears with Snoop's soul in it, with Jimmy Bone's soul, and I'm like, it honestly doesn't even make a lick of fucking sense at all.
But you also had an ability to sort of like use the Pam Grier character who was in the like tarot cards and stuff as some sort of mystical way that transfer happened, which I almost wonder if that was originally intended for her to be.
Well, if it is, they don't showcase that. Like, right. You would have to just kind of, you know, put it, you'd have to just think of it like on your own, basically.
Right. I don't know if that was the intention, but it almost feels like it should have been or something. So it's like, I think that there may have been maybe some studio interference or something like that.
But like I said, though, like in the scene where he gets killed by all of his colleagues and stuff like that, like if there was a dog in that scene, that's all you needed to do, right? It would have made a lot of fucking sense. Like, he dies, he loved his dog so much, like his soul goes in there, and like, you know, he was killed unjustly, so you know that's always a recipe for revenge and stuff like that. So his soul's going to leave, go on the dog. We get introduced to this dog that's locked in a room in the fucking house where he's buried and stuff. It makes sense, but that's when we get introduced to this dog. It's like, at first it's super confusing. Like, why the fuck is there a dog here? Like, what the fuck has happened? But I mean, obviously you're thinking like, oh, it's Snoop Dogg, it's a dog. It makes a lot of fucking sense, but at the same time, it literally makes no sense.
I think the whole like Bones character is pretty cool. I like the location, even though I do not buy that they could have turned it into that fucking nightclub
in 2 days.
Even being rich kids,
it was one weekend, dude. They did it over a weekend. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a little bit messy, but overall, I thought it was better than I remembered. Like, I thought that the actual like themes of the story and like the social commentary was pretty good. And I'm a pretty big fan of this movie. Are we doing ratings now?
Yeah, exactly. You can start if you want.
Okay.
It's actually on you. It's actually on you.
Okay. Yeah. Man, it's a little bit tough because I want to like it more than it probably, how I probably feel how good it is. I'll probably just stick with a 7. Same as Death by Temptation, but it's another thing is I give them mad credit for using a lot of practical effects, especially with like that Hellraiser like reincarnation scene that was really neat.
Yeah,
I like that stuff a lot. There's some CG in there, but I think it's pretty good practically.
Right. Who's Mike after you? Yeah, Mike's after you.
Yeah, I think JP's about where I am on the rating, which is funny because I mentioned during my kind of spiel that the movie might have gone down a little bit for me, but not much. Like, it maybe like a half point. So I'll come in with a 7. I think there's still a lot to like about the movie. Much like Tyler said during his spiel, I really like the flashbacks and the setup to kind of like give us what Jimmy Bones' backstory is. I just think a lot of I really think that was well done. In fact, I'd almost like more of that, or just like a movie about Jimmy Bones patrolling the streets as a drug dealer in the 70s. Like, I would like that movie. I think once we get to the present time stuff, it does get a little messy, a little bit of a slog at times, but
I think the third act felt a little basic too.
Yeah, for sure. So even though I came down a half point, it still kind of is right where JP is. So I'll go with a 7.
Yeah, I meant exactly the same thing at a 7. I think it's fun, man. I think Snoop does a really good job. Supporting actors and characters in the film are pretty fun. So it's just, honestly, man, I had a good time rewatching this, man. And that's really what it comes down to, man. I mean, the soundtrack plays better in the film than it does actually to listen to it. Because like I said, I listened to it after the fact and I was like, man, it's actually really average. But there is some good songs on it, right? And but I think it just plays better in the film. But it's fun, man. It's fun. You know, it's got some good sequences, man. Pam Grier is great in the film. So I give it 7, man. I recommend it. It's fun. Tyler.
Well, I'm going to be a Grinch.
What a fucking surprise.
I expected it.
This movie's entertaining enough. Like I said, it's got some good stuff going on, but it really kind of just fumbles the last act and kind of takes its eye off the ball. It gets a little bit messy and overwrought at times, but it's not awful or anything. I did enjoy it for what it was. I give it a 5.5.
5.5. Shit. 7's all around, and then fucking Grinch comes in and just ruins the party. That's good. All right, so that is Bones from 2001.
Doggy dog, brother.
All right, so moving into the third and final film here from 2006, also starring Snoop Dogg, and we got Hood of Horror. Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror. This is an anthology film that has an array of actually really cool character actors, and there's tons of people in this film. Pretty cool stuff. All right, quick little synopsis. A hip-hop horror anthology of 3 tales of terror told by the Hound of Hell that revolve around the residents of an inner-city neighborhood whose actions determine where they will go in the afterlife. All right, so Hood of Horror. Man, I hadn't seen this in so long. I completely forgot, like, that the wraparound story is kind of like, it's pretty much animated. I completely fucking forgot about that.
That was the best part to me.
It really was the animation. I mean, the animations, it is what it is. But
I thought the whole thing was going to be animated for a second. I was like, this is going to be hype, and then it wasn't.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's kind of a different way of doing like a wraparound story with, the animation and stuff, and it tells a story of like Snoop, and he's given this power and stuff like that, and it gets into the stories and shit. Which the first story is called Crossed Out. And I actually really like this idea because I'm a huge graph person. I love graffiti. I love graph. But the idea of crossing out someone's tag is basically ending them right there, because it's kind of like what it is in the streets, though, right?
It's like kind of like Tales from the Hood segment with the little boy's drawings.
Right. Yeah, it very much is kind of the same thing. But I like that premise of like you turn into supernatural, but like in the streets and stuff, like there's like an unwritten law of graph, like you don't go and tag on someone's fucking, on their fucking tags and shit like that, right? And how it goes in the gang and stuff like that. Like if you cross out someone's name, that means they're next to die kind of thing and stuff. But this is taking it one step further. They're just like putting an X through their tags, and then they go and die and shit like that. But the first story is fucking fun, man. I love the kill with the 40. Come on, man. That shit's fucking amazing, dude.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Kill is so good.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, man, like the effects in this, I mean, there's, like I said, there's a little bit of CG with the transitions and like Snoop's face and things like that throughout the anthology and stuff. But for the most part, like, again, it's practical effects. But there's like that 40 kill where this guy slips and falls and 40 goes right through his fucking head. It's pretty fucking awesome, dude. It looks awesome. But I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on Mike? Or who hasn't gone? JP? First on Hood of Horror? What are your thoughts on Hood of Horror?
I like it enough. I think the first segment's my favorite.
Yeah.
Just because it is cool, and I do like the tagging, and like dude's name's Fat Cap. Just stupid.
Yeah.
I will say that I felt like the Posey character, like the lead, didn't feel like she belonged. Like, I don't know, just something about her. She didn't feel like a tagger or anything.
Yeah.
Like, it just I don't know how I feel about that cast
so
thing.
Fucking beautiful though, man. Danielle Alonso,
for sure.
Like she was, she I think she was in The Hills Have Eyes too. She did a couple horror films actually. I think around this time, I know that she was in that one. She was in The Collector, Hills Have Eyes 2. Have you ever seen The Collector before?
I've seen The Collector.
Yeah, Collector's good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
Wrong Turn 2. She was in that one too. But yeah, she's just got one of those faces, man. Fuck, she's hot. Super beautiful.
I almost expected like Snoop to like what I've never seen this before, but I expected Snoop to be like a crypt keeper like type of
like that.
Like character.
Well, that's actually what his character is. He is kind of the crypt keeper, right? Because he's kind of the one that's, you know,
he is, but I wish he would have embodied it more.
They actually even call him the crypt keeper. They actually even call him the crypt keeper in this too.
Yeah, it feels like they didn't lean into it as much as they could have.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised at like the amount, like the cast in this movie, like has like a lot of people, like Danny Trejo, Lin Shay,
like
Diamond Dallas Page, which
Diamond Dallas Page, Jason Alexander, and with
Method
a fucking Method Man,
Well,
Jason Alexander,
Ernie Hudson too. I was
Well, you missed when I said I thought the guy in Bones was Ernie Hudson. I felt so dumb when I watched this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking like Jason Alexander as the music executive with his accent. Fuck, dude, he was killing me with that accent, dude.
The accent was wicked goofy.
It's super goofy, but he did it so good though, man. It was awesome. He was playing it dead serious, man. Billy D. Williams is in the movie. Ernie Hudson, Richard Gans.
Yeah. I do really like the fact
actually has a good part too.
Yeah. I do really like the fact that as an anthology, they really do kind of adhere to like the kind of comeuppance, or the main character always has like a decision to make about like, do they want to be the better person and learn their lesson, or do they want to deal with the consequences of like going down the wrong path? So that's kind of like
there was morals.
To do
it was moral driven.
Yeah, anthology short stories that tends to be like the traditional way to craft the stories, and I'm glad they did adhere to it there, because I thought it made each segment interesting. I would say for me, probably my personal favorite was the second story, just because I like the ensemble cast in it. I like the idea of like all like kind of like the war veterans kind of like living out their final days together as like
I think the second story is super goofy, man. It's fucking like when they feed her all the caviar to explode her. I actually I hadn't seen this in years, and I started pissing myself laughing. I'm like, that's the fucking stupidest death ever. But it was funny, man, because like
it is goofy, but I think like in an almost EC Comics way, there always is, because even like a lot of the old Tales from the Crypts episodes, there was like shades of like comedy in those stories, even though like something gruesome or disgusting might be happening. There was always kind of like that dark comedy kind of shade to it, and I think that's what the second one, the segment in this one
it's super
too.
Like when she blows up and he kind of licks his lip and he goes, "Oh, it's salty."
yeah. Like little tidbits like that.
But I love the fact this guy is the biggest fucking scumbag ever. Like he totally just lets his fucking girlfriend die. Like he made that decision. He's such a piece of shit, man.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like he let the other guy die too from the infantry, man. I'm like, fuck.
At every crossroads there is in the story, he just becomes like a worse character, like more of a dick.
Dude, he's such a piece of shit, man. Ernie Hudson's great in this though too, man. He's awesome. He's really good. Richard Gant, he's good in the film. Fuck. But
I love when you get legitimate well, I mean, I guess everyone's a legitimate actor, but when you get kind of like bigger names to do these movies, but they come and put in work. Like they don't sleepwalk through the roles. They're actually like putting forth that effort, you know?
Yeah, like I like Danny Trejo's character, man. Like Jason Alexander actually steals the show for me, man, with that act. Because like when he starts talking, I'm like, what the fuck is he talking? Like, what is it? I couldn't figure it out. But it didn't matter, because by the end of his spiel, it just worked. It was fucking good, man. There's a lot of cameos in that one. Like we got Lin Shay in the third one, Jason Alexander, Diamond Dallas Page. And like the story's cool too, man. It's that whole moral, it's like greed. It's a total greed story, right? Like guy's a fucking total scumbag and shit, fucks over his friend and shit like that, and or his rhyme partner and shit. Like I like this, man. you know, the hood of horror, I mean, you look at it for face value and like, oh, it's just corny, it's cheesy and shit like that. But like, it actually is packing a little bit of commentary and stuff like that. And it's all moral driven and stuff. And I mean,
it really does try to encapsulate the classic EC.
Oh, it does.
Comics, Tales from the Crypt type of moral tales about greed and, you know, stuff like that, which seems to be a running theme in those.
Well, look at the first story. Like, you don't expect the end of the first story to end like that. Like, fuck, dude. Like,
yeah,
she gets fucked up, man. It's crazy. It's like totally crazy. But again, it plays into what the theme is here. And I think it does it pretty well. Like, honestly, man, all the stories are fun. I have really no problems with this anthology. Like, I hadn't seen it in years. I actually didn't remember. Like I even said, I couldn't even remember the animation. I was like, holy shit. But this was a fun show. Prepping for this, man. All three films I had a good time with, man. They were kind of all on the same kind of level for myself. And I mean, say what you will. You look at Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror, you know, what are you thinking right away? That's going to be fucking terrible. It's honestly fun. It's honestly fun, dude. It is.
It's a little, it's better than I thought it was going to be. That's for sure. Like I actually had heard so much negative things about this over the years that I didn't even think I thought it was going to be bad, you know, and it definitely wasn't. It's also cool that this was the secret 9th film for the 8 Films to Die For.
Oh, right.
That's
festival.
So
you know, and this would have been cool to watch with an audience too, man. You know, like it's a quick watch. I think it only runs about 85 minutes or something like that. And like, it's got a lot of fucking recognizable faces. It's fun. It's fun. I mean, honestly, I have no problem with it, man. But I gotta say though, like when they start vacuuming the fucking caviar down her throat, I'm like, this is awesome. It's fucking good stuff, man. It's
yeah. I think like JP, because JP brought up Tales from the Crypt. Like, I think if you isolate out any of these stories, you could almost make it an episode of Tales from the Crypt. Like, throw the Crypt Keeper in there with an intro, and because that's the tone. At least in the second two. The first one's, I would say, the first one has a little more serious tone to it, but the second two, they definitely have that slice of comedy in there that Tales from the Crypt was known for, even with like serious stuff going on, but it would still always have that streak of dark comedy.
Like the first one is a little bit more serious. The second one totally takes that comedy angle, and then like the second one, the guy gets in a bed and he's wearing the Confederate boxers. Like, come on, man, it's fucking ridiculous. I mean, honestly, I like all the stories, to be honest. Like the last one's cool, man, because it's dealing with like a rhyme team, you know, a couple rappers and shit like that. And it's all about greed and, you know, that typical music industry type shit that where people are willing to fuck their friends over for fortune and fame and stuff like that. And, you know, karma's a bitch, right? So pretty cool stuff. And I actually like the way, I love the scene where the partner comes back as the zombie and he's like, bro. He's like talking to Diamond Dallas Page. He's like, bro, he's fucking right there. He's like, nah, man, there's nobody there. And then he gets his fucking eyes stabbed out, man. That's fucking gnarly. I love that shit. It's good stuff. So maybe I like this one a little bit more than you guys. I'm very enthusiastic about it. I think it's fun. So
no, I think it's pretty fun too, honestly. You know,
yeah. I was just shocked to see Lin Shaye show up in this. Like, it's just.
Oh, I was. This seems like a total Lin Shaye movie.
The third story has so many, like, well, I shouldn't say so many, but it has some really big names. Like Jason Alexander doesn't need to be in this, man. The guy made $1 million an episode on fucking Seinfeld.
Yeah, it made
He's
me feel
beyond
like
rich.
a lot of these people were like doing these movies because they just like, yeah, I'll do a movie with you, Snoop.
Right. And like Jason, like he doesn't even call it. He doesn't even phone in his performance. Like, I love his accent. It's so good, man. It's so fun. At least we can pull out the fun stuff in these films. People just take this shit and they're just like, no, it's fucking garbage. Like, what do you expect? Like, what are you expecting here? Like Criterion type fucking, you know, top notch film. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's lower budget, but I think they do a pretty good job. So,
dude, I just didn't know anything about this. Is fucking kind of crazy to me. The director of this is Stacy Title.
Yeah.
And she was the wife of Jonathan Penner from Survivor, who also was an actor and writer. He wrote The Bye Bye Man. But she was on Survivor once as doing the Loved Ones episode. So crazy.
Yeah, I never watched
the same year that this came out.
Yeah, she died a couple years ago from.
She had multiple sclerosis.
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, ALS, known as Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh, is that a different thing? Sorry.
Yeah. And she had leukemia too. So
yeah.
But yeah, so
I follow Jonathan Penner because he's like a big horror fan too, on Twitter and stuff like that, and he would always post about her.
So how do you think
and apparently Jason Alexander is her cousin.
Well, I guess that makes sense why Jason Alexander's in the fucking movie then. Jesus Christ, that's crazy. Okay, so I mean, again, watching this film, I'm going, how in the fuck is Jason Alexander in this film? But there's your connection. But like, how did she become the director of this Snoop Dogg Presents, horror anthology? Like, what's the story?
That's how the hell did that happen? Right. So weird.
Like, I think that's a whole story in itself, man. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, crazy. So
yeah, because the film that she directed before this was in 1999.
One of my favorite moments in the film is the fact that there's a midget in the film and he's called Half Pint. Like, that shit is he's fucking clever, man.
Yeah, anyway, he's like, yo, Half Pint.
It's a fucking midget. Oh my god, it's so good. Good stuff, man. But yeah, Hood of Horror, man. I mean, I like it, man. I'm not ashamed to say I really enjoy this, man.
Yeah,
I think all three stories.
I was a little worried going into this watch because I haven't seen it since I think the first time I saw it, and I remember thinking of it pretty fondly for what it was, and I was a little worried, like, okay, some time has gone by. Was it just one of those things where I watched it at like the right time for me to be entertained by it? But when I was watching it for the show prep, I was like, no, actually, I still like it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's just better than it probably would ever think it was going to be. You know what I mean? Like, I look at this and I go, well, it's got a pretty decent cast and stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it does a good job of leaning into like the schlocky elements of like the story, like you said, like kind of like the comedic nature of the kills in the second one, where I think it understands like
the second story feels
horror. It has to. You're not going to get like high end art here, so let's just make it like fun and goofy and let people like see some gore and get some laughs and be on their way.
The second, like, it feels like the first story could be like House, and then the second story feels like House 2. It like amps up the comedy. You know what I mean? Like, it gets super goofy and comedic and stuff. I was thinking watching the second one, I'm like, this reminds me of like how goofy House 2 is. Right. So kind of interesting, but you guys got anything else on it, or?
No, I think I'm good.
So the segments, the first segment is called Crossed Out, which makes a lot of sense, which is probably my favorite segment. Actually, I just like that idea. I think the third one's got like my favorite performance from Jason Alexander is pretty awesome. The second one's called The Scumlord. And of course the third one's called Rap City Askew. So pretty cool. I enjoy it, man. Mikey, what do you got on this one?
Ratings, is that what we're doing now? Let's see. I'm gonna say I was gonna make it a clean sweep and say 7 for all the movies, but since I actually maintain like the level that I like this, I'm gonna give it a half point more and say 7.5.
That's exactly what I'm at, actually. 7.5 on this one. I like all the stories. I think it's pretty interesting to use the animation for the wraparound story and stuff. And yeah, it just works for me, man. I think it's super entertaining. So
for sure.
Tyler.
I didn't think this was bad. I like the animation. It's got its moments. It was clearly just like people having a good time and putting some heart into it, so you got to give it credit for that. It's not like boring or anything like that, but it's not really something I really want to watch again or usually am in the mood for. But I can understand why someone would really like this, and I'm not saying don't watch it. It's just not for me. I'll give it a 5 out of 10.
JP.
Yeah. I'm a little bit lower than the first two, but I still pretty much enjoyed it. I'll give it a 6.5.
Wow, I'm surprised. I thought you'd be at least about a 7 on this one. Yeah, if I learned anything about these movies tonight from Tyler is that I think he doesn't like black people.
Yeah, pretty much the same conclusion I came to.
Oh, I've known that about him a long time. Just kidding.
Shit, that's funny. Oh, man. All right. So, anyways, that's going to conclude our Urban Horror Volume 1 episode. I was thinking, is there another... Did Snoop ever do a third, like, horror-related film? Because we could have just done that as a trilogy.
We tried to look for that, but it didn't look like it.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
But we got to watch Death by Temptation instead, and I thought that movie was pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's very good. Very good stuff. But yeah, so that's Hood of Horror 2006. I don't know, man. What do we got going? Oh, next week is
off.
We are off next week. So the next show will be in 2 weeks. We are returning with a franchise. We haven't done a franchise in like a long time. And that is going to be the Blind Dead franchise. I'm really looking forward to doing it. I haven't watched the films in a while, so looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Just got that Snaps Blu-ray, or I guess it would be is it a 4K of the first film? So yeah, looking forward to checking that out.
I think the only other quote unquote horror Snoop's done wasn't he like a voice in the animated Addams Family movie in the sequel? That's as close.
I haven't seen those actually.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a stretch, but that's all I can think of.
It's horror Jason for sure. I mean, you could lump that in there. It's dark, gothic. It kind of works. So, yeah, you guys got anything else, or are we just getting the fuck out of here?
Think we can get the F out of here. Yeah.
I think Hood of Horror is currently on Tubi for any of your listeners that haven't seen it and want to check it out.
That's where I watched it.
Same.
Really?
Even though I have the DVD right in front of me.
Fucking sealed,
man.
Sealed.
That was probably my only opportunity to ever watch this on DVD.
That is so funny. Honestly, the quality probably would have been better on your DVD than Tubi.
Tubi usually is 720.
It looks like kind of washed out on Tubi.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look the greatest, but
I thought it was kind of just that early, that kind of 2000s, switching to digital low budget filmmaking type of lighting, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where sometimes in that initial DVD era, sometimes things just didn't get good transfers at the time.
No.
Yeah, it seemed kind of washed out to me. That I kind of took it as this is just not good lighting because it's in that area where people are shooting now with digitally, but they haven't really kind of mastered the lighting yet, so it looks washed out.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But anyways, with that said, I guess we're gonna get out of here, and we'll check you guys next week in episode 261. Deuces.
Peace.
That's all, folks.